theme song, literally the thing that gave me the channel name. Guys, we are here for the panel for UFC 303. I can't monetize this anymore, so if you guys would be so kind as to like this video and show support, I would appreciate it greatly, because that is copywritten music, and I can't use that for monetization. So here we are, friends. We are 138 MMA and the Couch Warrior host the panel, and we've got two great guests with us today. We've got TB Scouting MMA from Chronic Combat Conversations. He's the famous one over there. Everybody always says he's the famous one. We got Cody Dank, back by popular demand, was here just, what was it, 2 days ago, breaking down PFL with me, back already. So guys, we are here. Let's just real quick, everybody give me your favorite fight that you like, the one you are most looking forward to. Let's start with TB. TB, what fight are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to watching myself, Andre Arlovski, against Martin Buday. It's the fight I'm most looking forward to.
I knew it. You do look just like him. Like, you guys, he could be your doppelganger, like straight up. That is awesome.
Straight up. No, but for real, the main event. And if not, the first fight of the night.
So not actually Andre Arlovski?
Probably not, from an excitement perspective.
You should
go then,
TB. You should get out of here.
Should be cutting weight.
Cutting weight at heavyweight. Yeah, he's gonna cut weight. You're gonna weigh in at like 246. You're fine. Mike, what are you looking forward to?
Michelle Waterson Gomez versus. Nah, I can't even.
I was about to say, wow.
Nah, I'm looking forward. I think Jourdain Silva is going to be a war. I think that's the fight. Like, obviously the main event, like that's obvious, but I think that Jourdain Silva is the one where it's going to be back and forth, just beating the crap out of each other. I feel like that's the one.
Cool beans. I love that one. Cody, what about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious pick is, the main event, but to try to pick something else, I mean, it's going to be, even though the fight has definitely potential to be boring, I'm looking forward to that MVP Gary fight, just because somebody's about to like have egg on their face. I think a lot of people are hoping it's Ian Gary, but I think it's definitely, we'll get into it later, but regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of the aftermath of that fight. I just think it's gonna be entertaining. Hopefully the fight is also entertaining. The main event is as crazy as it gets. I'm super hype about this card, man. This card is
it's a great card. It's a great card. Yeah, for me, it's the Ortega Lopez fight. I feel like that's gonna be crazy. The one thing I don't like is that we didn't get them both fully prepared for this. It was like a short notice thing, but it's okay. I can accept it. Let's shout out the chat real quick, guys. I know that MMA Clips has been waiting all day for this, so there we go. MMA Clips is definitely one of the biggest fans out there, so that's awesome. Any Action Sportscast, Effie's down there. He says Cody's got the funniest pick. Yeah. Dude, okay, so he has another like picture on like his channel and stuff as well, but when he does the like on his videos, he always has like him holding out the money, and I'm always like, that's the one I want to use on these because it's too cool. So yeah, I like that. I
thought it was funny you used that. Nobody's ever used that one before. I'm gonna have to start like just using that for everything.
Dude, it's good, dude. It's really good. That's why I was like, oh, I gotta put that on the thing here rather than just the normal one you have. Real Fight Picks was gonna watch the presidential debate, but thought this might be more informative. You know what? I agree, especially because here's the deal: you can engage with us in the chat. We can go back and forth. We can have a good time. You're not getting that at the debate. They don't care. You can watch that later and you'll get the same experience. But this, if you catch it live, you get to come back. We highlight your stuff here. So it's the perks, right? It's the perks, guys. MMA Clips is hype. I don't know what BBL means, but all right. I'm such an old person.
I don't know.
I have no clue.
Brazilian butt lift.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a fake
ass.
That's what it is.
I don't know what's going on.
It's the Kendrick and Drake diss thing, and then Michael Venom Page brings it out and makes a BBL Gary song, and he's taunting him with it. It's pretty funny. I will say it's pretty funny.
Okay, I'm gonna have to catch up on that. I'm such an old timer. Like I'm like you kids and your music, like dude. I'm like, I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I mean, whatever. I mean, we just got an introduction from a 1980s punk song, so I mean, it's not like I'm up on the hip stuff these days. But let's dive in, right? Let's dive in. We've got fun stuff to do. We've got 13 cards to break down. We've already told you what we're most excited for. Action Effie's hitting it again, so there we go. We're gonna start with Ricky Simone and Vinicius Oliveira. Why? Because that's the opening fight of the card, and you know what? We started with TB last time. We're going to start with TB again. TB, kick this one off. The man of the hour. Let's hear what you got, brother.
Yeah, it's an honor. Quite frankly, I feel like if the round 1/first half of round 2 version of Vinicius Oliveira is showing up for this fight, that Ricky Simone should be having his way here. I think even in the stand-up, the boxing could be clean enough when he gets inside range to land combinations to the body, to the head. But there's also a vast amount of danger coming back from the Oliveira side. And I don't feel comfortable taking Simone in a -200 range against an athlete of this caliber. So where I do end up is that the under 2.5 at -125. I mean, that's looking mighty appealing. I feel like violence is the recipe for this fight. And Simone, I mean, the guy's been getting hurt more and more often. Oliveira could almost be a guy that's up at 145 some point in the future. But, without USADA, he might be here for a little bit longer at 135. And then ultimately, I feel like, Simone, if he gets this fight to the mat, I mean, Sopai, he probably coulda, shoulda, woulda finished that fight on the mat. So is there some inherent value on a Simone submission, ground and pound TKO? But ultimately, instead of planting my flag on the side, because I feel like at -250, it's already baked into the value here, I'll take the under because I think there's violence no matter what.
Okay. The under. I like the under. I mean, I could see a decision, but I could definitely see the finish. So, Mike, let's hear your take on this one, brother. What do you got?
Yeah, for me, I got a similar breakdown. At the end of the day, Vinicius clearly has a grappling hole. He just doesn't have great takedown defense. He doesn't have great get-ups. He gives up his back when he is trying to get back up. So those are all pretty big problems if you're fighting someone like Simone. Simone is so posh, but better, right? Better, more experienced, an actual UFC vet. He will not gas. 100% this dude is not gassing unless something is seriously wrong. And I think that here Vinicius is knockout or bust. Now, that said, why am I not parlaying Ricky? Because I think he can get knocked out. I 100% do think he can get knocked out. He can get knocked out by any fighter with power, but Vinicius seems to have fuck you power, so it's even more scary if you're going to be playing Ricky. And that's why I just can't get there. I think what TB said with the under makes a lot of sense. I think both guys have ways to finish. You can get a Ricky knockout possibly. You can get a Ricky sub, or you can get a Vinicius knockout. My issue is it's kind of chalky at this point. I would have rather the fight doesn't go at -1, minus something better than -160 or 70. The under, I'm seeing under 2.5 at -125 on DraftKings. I don't know if that's still there, but I think that's a pretty good play that I might make myself. I'll pick Simone, but I think in terms of a bet, it's either unders or pass.
Yeah, I get that. I the line on Simone is pretty steamed, so I definitely understand that. Real quick, I gotta give a shout out to Josh down here. He's on Ricky, but we just rolled together at jiu-jitsu I don't know, less than an hour ago. So shout out to Josh. Thanks for coming to the chat. That was awesome. So, but yeah. So Cody, what do you got? Who's your pick? What are you feeling in this one?
Nice. I just got back from class, man. So I was
same.
hopped in the shower, hopped right on. But yeah, no, I mean, much of the same. I'm not gonna break down pretty similar. I like the under. I didn't play it myself. But only difference is, honestly, I was willing to play that chalk. I bet him at -210 the first time, and I only have 2 parlays in this card. I don't parlay often, but I have 2 2-leg parlays. Both of them are anchored by Simone. I think he's going to get a takedown within 20 seconds of this fight. Don't get me wrong. I like Oliveira. I bet him over Sapaj, and it seemed like everybody was on Sapaj. And I actually think Sapaj is pretty good, and it was a pretty competitive fight. People only talking about the knockout, but the fight itself, I mean, I'm not going to say it was smooth sailing. I was pretty nervous after the second round. So if Sopaj can take him down, I'm not trying to take away from Sopaj. I think he's good, but he is tiny, man. Simone is probably a lot stronger. I think the wrestling, I think Sopaj, again, his wrestling's pretty solid, but he was coming in at short notice, small dude, honestly a flyweight. Vinicius is huge. That's honestly the one thing that scares me. I bet him by knockout as a little hedge, plus 400. So I have 2 parlays with Simone. I really think, like Mike said, it's kind of KO or bust for Oliveira. I like 4-1. I feel like that's pretty much his whole money line. I don't see him winning a 3-round decision over Ricky Simone. I don't think a lot of people in this division could do that. Ricky Simone's a great minute winner. But, Oliveira, we've seen Simone cracked. I wouldn't be shocked if he knocked him out. He's going to have a huge size and power advantage. So I think Simone should be able to take this dude down, wrestle him up. This could be a pink slip fight, honestly. I mean, probably not because he's fought some tough dudes, but it's been kind of a rough run. Even the Song fight and then, these last two, it's been a little bit of a rough run, honestly. So I think he's going to go out there, fight to a game plan, take this dude down. The sub, the KO, I don't know, but I think a finish. So I like those unders from TB, but I'll go ahead and trust Simone here. I think the only way he loses is if he just gets chinned. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Real quick, I got to shout out Anakin Skywalker for being everywhere except the high ground. I'll never get tired of that joke. That is just rich to me. But Anakin, glad you made it, brother. Glad you made it. There will be blood also on Simone. It sounds like most people are on Simone outside of the knockout. That's the thing, because realistically, when I look at it too, it's like, okay, Oliveira's live for a knockout, but he's probably not winning a decision against Simone unless Simone just comes in there with the worst game plan possible and wants to just like try to like jab and move with him and doesn't somehow get knocked out. I don't know. Like I can't imagine. He'd have to be going in there like after eating a whole can of paint chips. So I think Ricky Simone probably gets the takedowns, and I think that it's going to be one of those things where Oliveira is super live at the beginning of every round. And he's also super live anytime he's able to get back to his feet, because Simone does have decent control, but when he goes for something, that's when people get space. Because what Simone does, and he does this very well, to seek the finish, it's ground and pound, submission attempt, ground and pound, submission attempt, and he just back and forth with the two. And when you're doing that at like a high rate, guys are going to be able to create space, but you're also going to be able to set up your stuff. So I mean, I feel like Simone probably gets it. I don't feel as good about playing him at the money line. So like, I understand the under 2.5. For me, I'm just going to pass on the fight, but the pick for me will be Simone. And let's see, everybody's chatting about the parlays. That's right. Let's see. Yeah, I know Josh used to have his own channel where he was a parlay guy. So shout out to his parlay channel that he should probably just reinvent, right? Get that going again. We can have you on the channel, man. But yeah, there's everybody's having a conversation down there, so we can move right on. So the next fight we have, which is this one is it's one of those fights that's kind of like it's a drastic step up from road to UFC to the UFC. We have Ray Seruya, he's taking on Carlos Hernandez, and that's it. Parlay punch, that was the one. So it's Ray Seruya, Carlos Hernandez. This is going to be a big fight for Ray Seruya. It's his biggest fight of his career. Now, Carlos Hernandez, he's been here for a while, so it's kind of where do you see a guy like Seruya? And Mike, let's hear your breakdown first. I'd love to hear you kick it off. What do you got?
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. I mean, a lot of people are talking about this like this is Seruya's hardest fight to date, hardest opponent. And there's an argument that it is, but I also think that I'm weak. I also think that Mark Climaco might be his actual hardest opponent to date. I think Mark Climaco is a really high level fighter. I think that Mark Climaco got a little bit unlucky that he had to go up against Seruya there. And I think that Mark Climaco will end up in the UFC sooner or later. I think it'll be sooner. So he has fought tough competition. He has fought guys who will test him. He has fought a guy who will be able to defend his takedowns and land his own. And he still was able to win that fight. His wrestling, really, really high level. The jiu-jitsu is very opportunistic. It's very solid. Striking, we don't have too much information because he's usually immediately going for takedowns. But from what I've seen, it's not the best at all. He's 22 years old, so it's going to develop. But right now, it's not quite there. And, 22 years old for me, I know a lot of people love that. I don't love the younger fighters too much when they're that young because I think they make a lot of stupid mistakes. So I can completely understand why people are playing Carlos Hernandez. I'm not going to get involved in this fight other than the total. I did play Fight Goes at plus 155. I played a unit on it. I like that bet quite a bit. I don't think Seruya is going to knock out Hernandez. I think he could sub him, but I don't think that it's a super high likelihood outcome. I think that Hernandez has pretty good submission defense, and Nascimento, that's a different level of jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. So I don't think he's going to sub. Seruya is going to sub him. I don't think he's going to knock him out. And I don't think Hernandez is going to knock Seruya out. So I like that fight goes. I think that's the way to target this fight. Because if you're picking a side, you're either taking the shot on the dog, which is probably a decent bet in my opinion, or you're going to parlay Seruya, which I personally would not do. So for me, I'm going to go with fight goes, and Seruya will be the pick.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Cody, what about you, man?
Yeah, I kind of like where Mike's head's out there. I know some sharp people are on the dog here, and I think, if you're playing the money line side, I'm sorry, but if you're betting a 20, like Mike said as well, the 22 years old, a lot of people always only ever talk about age when we're going to be talking about an old king here coming up. But on the other side, yeah, people are, I'm excited about this order we got going on right now. I was like, so that means I'm going first, huh? No. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, no, but like Mike said, I think you got to bring up age sometimes in these scenarios because it's not always, I don't think it's always an advantage like people talk about. Like people only ever bring it up when you're the younger guy. But here it's like, I think Seruya probably has a higher ceiling, but he's probably, I actually am against these guys coming to the UFC this green. If you're 22, what are you going to fight until you're 40 in this division? Like, why not take another 3 years to go beat up more Asian dudes on the regional scene and get a little bit more well-rounded work? Because I think this guy is just pretty green here. And, just because a guy got finished by Tyra and Nascimento doesn't make me think, oh, let me just lay 6-1 on Seruya, who hasn't fought a single guy that is even close to UFC level. Like if you're falling down for knee bars in the UFC, I mean, don't get me wrong, that scramble was sick, and I love jiu-jitsu. But if you're falling to your back to roll for a leg lock, it might work on those guys who are like a white belt in jiu-jitsu on the regional scene. But in the UFC, man, like you're just a guy's gonna get out of that and he's gonna pound your head in, or in the very least win the round, and you're gonna lose fights like that. So the pick would be Seruya, or not but 6-1. Like we're gonna be talking about one that's a little bit more later on, but a freaking 2,000 or minus 2,000 and crap. But I don't have any hot takes here. I don't have a shot on the dog. I think he's a little bit better than people are giving him credit for, but I'm not going to take the shot. I don't hate the over from Mike. I don't have a bet on this fight. I'm just going to sit back and watch. Let's see if Seruya is legit. I'll pick him, but yeah, I like the thought of the over or an underdog shot. What about you?
Yeah. So I'm higher on Ray Seruya than a lot of people, it sounds like, because Mark Climaco was a guy that was slated to win the road to UFC. He was the odds-on favorite by a lot. Like going into that, big favorite. Even going into the Ray Seruya fight, he was like a pretty big favorite.
He wasn't.
He wasn't?
Nah, he was the dog.
No, Climaco was the dog?
I'm seeing on Tapology, they're saying plus 120 was Seruya, but I don't think that's right. I think Seruya was the underdog last I saw he closed minus 120.
Interesting. Okay, so either way, Climaco was the guy most people were picking to win the whole thing, and it's because Seruya can't strike really, or we don't see it. I actually like the fact that he doesn't strike, because why waste time doing something that you're not good at when you have a clear path to do what you are very good at? And he also, Climaco can wrestle, and he definitely out-grappled, especially in the first 2 rounds. The 3rd round, he had to grit through it, but he still did it, and he still won the 3rd. But Seruya is really, really skilled on the mat. So I think he's he gets compared to Tatsuro Taira all the time because they're both Japanese dudes, which is kind of just like, all right, I guess. But
it's so dumb.
It's a strange thing. But if we're going to make the comparison, Seruya is the more complete grappler there. But he also doesn't have the striking because, we saw Tyra can strike all right. But Seruya is sold out completely for grappling. That is what he's going to do. And he is darn good at it. His scrambles are fast. He's aggressive. He will get what he needs to get and just keep going. He's got grit to him, but he's young, so he can make young mistakes and make silly mistakes just by being young and inexperienced. I mean, at 22, no matter how long you've been competing in wrestling and grappling and then MMA, you're still only 22 and you can't have all that experience. At 22, I was nowhere near this level, but at the same time, like it's the less life experience. But I do think Seruya gets this one done. I think he could get a submission here, but I also could see the decision. In fact, I bet both at pretty good plus money when the props dropped on like Monday. I don't think he gets the TKO because I don't think Carlos Hernandez is the type of guy to turtle up and just let it happen. I think unless you put this guy out, I don't think you get the TKO short of like crucifix position where you just can't move type of thing. So either way, I'm seeing either submission or decision for Seruya. I played both of them at plus money. We're going to roll the dice and see which one hits. Hopefully it doesn't TKO him. TB, do you have any hot takes on this one? What's up, brother?
Yeah, I feel like you guys kind of covered a bit of the analysis here. So ultimately, instead of taking like a Seruya by decision or anything like that, you got an undefeated prospect here. You've got someone that's got a dominant win condition, but at the same time, we're talking about a lower weight class fight, and Hernandez, a guy with a little bit of seasoning. So I like that overlook. I like the fight goes look, but there's no need to add Seruya to a parlay or to like Seruya by decision when you're getting damn good price on it anyway. So great work on uncovering and breaking that down, guys.
I will say if you're playing him on DraftKings, like if you're doing like DFS fantasy, Seruya is going to score you a massive mountain of points. Just saying, like that dude is going to just grapple the heck out of this man. So that's something to throw out there. But yeah, sounds like we're all on the Seruya side, but a lot of us liking that over as well. This is truly my main event, and I'm so happy Cody gets to kick this one off. Andre Arlovski, Martin Buday, and I know because Cody and I are very much on the same page here. Cody, let's hear it, brother.
Hey, man, look, I'll try. We got 4 of us, so I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can. Look, I've made a lot of money betting on Andre Arlovski. It hasn't been working out lately, but I had a crazy streak going. If you've been watching my channel, like it was a running joke for a long time. I was like, I am the Arlovski whisperer because I had it was seven fights in a row. I did fade him inside the distance against Aspinall. And then the other 6 fights, like 3 before that and then the 3 after that, I bet Arlovski by decision. Don't get me wrong. He easily could have lost like half of those decisions.
He lost the Collier one, but I had him too, so I'm glad he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's become just a system play for me, man. And the thing I like about this, and I hate the phrase system play, it gets overused so much, and I try not to have like a system and look at fights all separately. But this is one where I'm just like, dude, he would have to lose me like 7-8 bets in a row before I would even come close to going in the negative. I feel like I'm playing with house money. And stylistically, it's like Buday's. If your game plan is to go in there, and not only your game plan is to win a decision, because that's all Buday is really good for at this level, but your plan is to hold this guy up against the cage. No, don't get me wrong. If he can get a takedown and early, I'm going to be worried. And my one thought is like, is Arlovski, I hate when not only is he obviously the oldest guy in the UFC, but now he's throwing around retirement fight. That does scare me a little bit, I won't lie. But plus 225, I didn't take him by decision for the first time in like ever because the bookies are like all over it. Him by decision is plus 240. Him straight up was plus 225. I did see a book today that was like plus 300 or something, but I already had a sizable bet on him just straight. So I'm like, you know what? We riding the train one more time. Good luck holding this. If there's, and then one more point, good luck holding this dude up against the cage because people don't really if you're going to grapple him, you got to be like an explosive guy. Buday is not explosive. He's fat and slow. He's unimpressive. He does nothing but hold guys up against the cage. Don't get me wrong. He is strong. That's like the one thing I can compliment him on. And you guys know, at least 138 knows I don't get disrespectful about fighters often, but like this guy sucks. He's not good. His record is good, but like he holds guys up against the cage and stalls, and you're going to hear Herb all night. Let's work. Let's work. and then they're going to go at distance, and it's going to be a close striking fight. This joint's going 15 minutes. I bet the over. I bet fight goes the distance at -150. Yes, if Buday gets him down early, if Arlovski's truly just showing up for a paycheck, if that's not the case, this fight's going 15. It's going to be close. I'm going to win a decision, and then people are going to say, "Oh, but you didn't really deserve that." I'm going to be like, "Yeah, the money still counts up the same." So, fight goes the distance. Arlovski, I'm counting on you, TB. Get it done for me. What do you think? I know what one of y'all thinks.
Yes. But everything Cody said, I'm 100% for it. I was also betting all those decisions for Arlovski. My buddy Jeff, he's a friend of mine from here in town. He was just like, every fight would be like, Arlovski by decision again? Like, are we doing that again? And the only time I was like, nah, dude, was the Aspinall fight. Just like Cody said, I was like, nah, this was not the one. But like every other fight, like even if he didn't get it, like it was close. I even played it in his last fight against Acosta, and I was like, he might have a shot to get this one. Like it could have been.
Oh no, I fell down too. The last three, I bet it as well. Don't get me wrong. I hit 7 in a row, and I've lost the last 3. We're still massively in the green, baby.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I had to just. He's a big
don't want
dog.
y'all to think I've only hit it. No, I've missed too.
Yeah, the only time I didn't that I was just like, nah, we're not betting it was the Aspinall fight, but that's a give me. But yeah, one more for the road is what I'm saying. I know, like Anakin pointed it out here, that Arlovski, he said that he might sign with a different promotion. He didn't specify who after this fight, which makes me think maybe he wants to go out on a win. You know, a little more leverage when you're signing with somebody else. So. You know what? We're gonna go Arlovski decision. That's the official pick. That's the play. I would love to maybe bet the split decision prop if I'm feeling a little risque, but you know, Arlovski. How about you, man? Or TB? Sorry, you guys look so much alike.
Yeah. No, listen. I come into this with a interesting insight of just potential, disappointment on my end of things here, and I feel like watching Martin Bautista Buday in the best shape of his life on Instagram and wrestling with Tommy Aspinall, funny you mentioned him, and working on his grappling. He's got BJJ in his handle, and I know he hasn't used a lot of it, but in this scenario, I think the fight gets to the ground, and we could be looking at like a Martin Buday by mother's milk submission type of thing. Like Arlovski could just not want that action in his face if it gets to the mat, and I wouldn't blame him, but no, in all reality, I feel like Buday at plus 450 by sub, when the only reason that Arlovski wouldn't have a chance to win this fight is if Buday is taking him down and consistently going for it. And just based off of what once again, this is kind of insta-capping and stuff like that. But, I'm curious, like, does he have what it takes? Because, yeah, he went and did it against, the likes of Josh Parisian, right? And, yeah, the Shamil Gaziev fight, definitely not what you want to see. So is Martin Buday making it in my degenerate parlays this week? No, but will I have a couple dollars, like grandma's couch cushions, go digging in there, see if there's any loose change, take a little plus 450 on the sub. And then, if you're trying to say Andre Arlovski by like decision plus 330, or even like Andre Arlovski by split decision, yeah, it would be hilarious. I'd love to get that last win bonus, but I fear worse things are coming on the horizon for TB Arlovski. So I lean more towards picking Martin Buday and like a little flyer on the sub, knowing that the decision is probably most likely.
I think sub's a decent play, but yeah,
I'll push back on the sub a little bit. How is he getting Arlovski down exactly?
It's a good question.
Yeah, definitely not the best. It's purely if I'm as washed as we're expecting or projecting, and Buday's actually trying to do stuff, that's the only reason I would see Buday covering his line. Otherwise, I think that there's a mistake here, and maybe Cody and 138 are onto something. But ultimately, I can't get there on the dog shot this time. And maybe, listen, if I'm cashing my win bonus, I won't care if I missed out at the betting window. I'll say it that way.
That's right. Mike, are you on Arlovski too?
Yeah. But I played him a little.
Yes.
I played him a little different than you guys. And here's the way I see it. So I agree with a lot of what Cody said. Like, for me, I always said, like, if Arlovski is fighting a non-special heavyweight, he's probably going to win. And that's been true pretty much his entire career up until 2022 when, Lima got him, Mays got him, and then Cortez won one of the most boring decisions ever possible and crashed and burned my KO tickets. But, I've backed him against Bozer, Linz, Sherman, Felipe, Vendera, Collier. I'll admit, I didn't deserve that. Usually when I win a robbery, I don't feel bad at all because I've lost so many robberies. And what am I going to do? Go donate my money back to the people? Yeah, my $100 unit is really going to help you guys. But for the Collier one, I felt pretty gross. I was like, I wish I could reimburse all of you because that was pretty damn bad. But yeah, I just think that even at this stage of his career, he could beat Buday. I've always been so low on. You know how low I am on Buday? I bet Lucas Brzeski for 2 units against him. And I should have won that damn bet too.
Talk
about getting robbed. I got robbed there. I got robbed from 5 units. He was like plus 250. I was like, these odds don't make any damn sense because this guy does not strike at range. He's extremely clinch dependent. And if he can't hold you up against a clinch, he can't win that fight. He does not grapple. I don't understand where this talk of grappling ever even came from. He doesn't have great jiu-jitsu. It's fine, but he doesn't wrestle. So what is he going to do? Arlovski's going to magically fall down to the ground? I mean, what's his face? De Lima, he got the sub without a takedown, but he knocked him down. Buday's going to come out here and knock down Arlovski. It's possible, and that's why I took the play I'm about to say, but I don't think it's a high likelihood. I don't think Buday is some crazy power puncher. Buday is a clinch merchant, and if he can't hold you up against the fence, he can't do nothing. And who's he holding up against the fence? Chris Barnett, who is one of the most undersized heavyweights we've ever seen. Collier, who's a middleweight, who decided he's done cutting weight and he wants to go to KFC, and that's that. And that's really it. He couldn't hold Brzeski. He couldn't hold what's his face? I don't even remember anymore. Regardless, you get my point. If he's not way bigger than you and can clinch you when he's uncomfortable, he's going to have a hard time. And Arlovski is a big dude. Even at his age, you don't shrink when you get older. Maybe a little bit, actually. I think that's a thing. But you don't shrink majorly when you get older. And he's also 45, not 85, even though sometimes it seems that way. I don't think he's going to be easy to hold up against a clinch at all. I think that he's going to be able to get out of there, maybe score his own minutes in the clinch. At range, I favor him significantly. I don't think Buday is a good striker at range whatsoever. He's fine, but I think Arlovski is actually pretty good, even at this stage of his career. So for me, at these odds, it's dog or pass. Why the hell would you do that to yourself? Why would you parlay Buday, and then you got to stare at the TV and watch him try to clinch Arlovski?
Let's work.
And rethink your entire life and possibly break your TV, and then you're going to be down who knows how many units. So the way I did it, I did Arlovski decision only. It was plus 165 on DraftKings. If he gets a finish and I don't cash my ticket, whatever, it is what it is. I did want the insurance because at this point, I don't trust his chin at all. And even though I don't think Buday's a great striker and I don't think he has much power, I wouldn't be shocked if he knocked Arlovski out. So because of that, I played decision only. If he does finish Arlovski, I get my money back. And if you tell me 100% we're going, which is pretty much what my bet means, 100% we're going to decision, I'm going to think Arlovski's winning it at least 8 out of 10 times.
Easy money.
So why is it plus 165?
Is it still there?
On DraftKings, it should be.
Dude, I'm literally going to play that as soon as the stream's over. As soon as it's done, I'm playing that.
Yeah.
I play it now, but I'm in Omaha, so I had to drive across the freaking border to Iowa so I can place a bet on DraftKings.
Oh, man.
Stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Kind of a weird, passionate take to have over on Arlovski, but I think I just really am not a fan of Buday. And I like
it hilarious. 3 of us are on Arlovski. The guy that looks exactly like him is not.
I have inside information, is the way I'll put it.
That's fair. He's geriatric at this point.
Listen, I gotta have an FBI investigation now, TV.
Listen, I'll put it this way: I get what you guys are saying. He still outweighs him by 25 pounds. He lands 1 takedown, 1 submission on Josh Parisian in his last win. It's clearly something that he has done. He has BJJ in his handle. I get it, but that's his clear path.
I'm sorry. Parisian is a bum.
And that am I wrong? That wasn't a full-on takedown, was it? I feel like there was like something with Parisian like falling over. I don't know. Maybe my memory's failing me, but I don't remember that being like a double leg or something.
I'll be honest. For a fight that I might have $5 on, I'm nowhere near as passionate as you guys on that take.
Yeah, I
appreciate your guys. We could get it moving. I don't need to defend my $5.
Okay. He doesn't need to defend his honor.
I'm good. Fair. I'm good. If I'm wrong,
just spent like 20 minutes on an Arlovski fight. We all need help.
I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love.
My real main event. But yeah, we can move on real quick. We got like 35, 37 of y'all watching this here live stream, and I do appreciate every single one of you. But if you guys would just do me a really big favor while we're here hanging out, there's this thing called a like button right there. It's got like a thumbs up like this, kind of like the tattoos on Jamal Hill's chest. If you could just click that for me, it would go a long way. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like to, we're streaming this on Twitter, but we also are on YouTube. Take one of our wherever we're streaming that you're watching, and just share it with your buddies, and that would be fantastic. But we're gonna move on to the next one. We are looking at Michelle Waterson Gomez and Jillian Robertson. I'm kicking this one off, which I am stoked to kick off because if you guys have been keeping up on Best Bet over on DFS by the Numbers channel. If you've been keeping up on Best Bet, I was on Best Bet for UFC 297. And if you remember UFC 297, my girl Jillian Robertson got a TKO win, and I called that as my best bet, and that girl did right by me. And I think she's going to do it again here because dance with the girl you took, right? Dance with the girl that got you there. Jillian Robertson KO is happening. Why do I think that happens? Well, I do think she's going to get the takedowns. She's much bigger, stronger, more athletic, and she's not going to want to sit there and point fight with Waterson for 3 rounds. I'd be silly. I think Robertson gets the takedowns. Also, what do I think? Well, I think on the ground, I think Waterson's going to be defensively responsible enough to not get subbed easily. And I think at some point after going for a couple of submission attempts, what's going to happen is Robertson's going to say, all right, forget about this, and just start slamming elbows. And the ref's going to be like, all right, we gotta save this lady. Like, it's not going well for her. So the ref's going to step in, give her the TKO, and that's what Jillian Robertson's going to do. That's what I like. What does TB like? Let's hear it, brother.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not 100% sure if it's knockout or submission, like 100%, but I appreciate your gusto. You gotta stick with it here. I think ultimately, she's going to be the bigger fighter here. Like Waterson is one of those ones where it's like, oh man, if only the UFC had that atomweight division, like she could have probably been a superstar earlier in her career. At this stage, I mean, like she's still solid from like, an on paper and athletic perspective. And she outstrikes Luana Pinedo, but at the end of the day, that's really not the most impressive feat when you still ultimately are getting out-damaged in that fight. So, and listen, I had a Waterson ticket there, but it is what it is. I'm not going to have a Waterson ticket here. It's going to be like a Jillian round 2, round 3 grouping or played separately and, average it out. I think you can get those ones on FanDuel where it's like round 2, round 3 sub, round 2, round 3 KO, but there's not a lot of books that have like that round 2, round 3 combo. But I think that's about where we're going to settle in here. I think Michelle's going to have enough like defensively to survive whatever first round of an onslaught is. But I just think that over time here, as you're working from bottom, because I don't think that Waterson throwing kicks is only going to take her to the ground sooner than later. Like that's not going to help her in the staying on the feet department. So ultimately, I got Robertson and I don't think it happens round 1, but I think it happens soon thereafter.
Fair play. Mike, what about you? You on the same side?
No, but
I
real
think
quick,
I remember that from your breakdown.
Before I dive into my breakdown, I will say my camera and shit went off because recently, ever since I put my AC up, my surge protector keeps popping out. So it's possible it might happen to my other one and my whole computer will go out and I'll have to come back. So just a heads up. But yeah, look, at risk of looking extremely stupid, which is fine because, it is what it is. I feel like Robertson, at least money line, is one of the worst plays you can make on the card. And here's why. Her jiu-jitsu is really good. Her ground control is really good because her jiu-jitsu is really good. Her wrestling is not that good. Entries aren't that good. And I talk about this all the time. If you're a grappler, you need some semblance of hands so that you can set up your takedowns. Jillian doesn't have hands. She's not a good striker. She just isn't. She's 29. She might be improving, but how many fights in the UFC has she had so far? She still hasn't really improved in the striking. It's not good. She's extremely hittable. She doesn't throw a lot of output. She's pretty limited to the hands. She has a few nice kicks, and that's about it. She's not a good striker. So if she can't get the fight to the ground, is this going to look like Jillian Chalk? I don't think so. Is Jillian going to cover 65, 70%? Because if this is a stand-up match, no, there's no way, unless Waterson is just gone. And I don't think she's just gone. Why is she gone? Because Marina Rodriguez beat the daylights out of her? Like, she'd do the same thing to Robertson on the feet. Same exact thing. So for me, the way I see it, who's the better striker? Waterson. Do I think Waterson's an elite striker? No. Do I think she's significantly better than Jillian? Yes, I do think that. I think she's actually got some semblance of striking. It's nice. It's clean. She's not throwing crazy things. She's got a good jab. The kicks are good too. And she's got a pop to her punch. She ain't knocking nobody out, but she'll make you step back. So the way I see it is, I think standing, she's the favorite, Waterson. And I think she's got really good takedown defense. I mean, Carla Esparza, who's a better wrestler than Robertson, maybe not as good in the jiu-jitsu department. That's a debate for a different day. But I'm talking about just straight wrestling, getting the fight to the ground. I think she's a better wrestler than Robertson. And she went 1-10. And I think that if Waterson can keep this on the feet, she can win this fight. Now, you would think I'm so passionate that I would bet it. I don't think I can. I don't know if I can bet Waterson at 38 years old, no matter how much I think it's a bad move to play chalk. So I'll probably pass unless like something crazy happens in the next few days and the parlay boys just go crazy on Robertson. Then I'll hop in. But I just don't think like at least the money line. I don't think it's a good move. Like if you're going to do it, I feel like do it in a sub, because if she's going to cover the price tag, she's probably got to finish her. So if you're going to play Robertson sub, Robertson ITD. If you think that she can get ground and pound, don't play the money line. I just don't think it's a good play, personally. I'm going to pick Waterson to win. Maybe I'll get there by fight night. We'll see.
To counteract the lack of wrestling, I think
Robertson not lack. I just don't think it's good.
Well, I just think that she's big enough that she can muscle takedowns over her. I mean, she's a former flyweight, and Michelle Waterson's an atomweight that's just fighting at strawweight. So I think she can muscle her down. It might not be clean, but I think she muscles her. Well, there he is. He's back. There he is. Switching it up. Okay. I like it.
Not bad.
There we go. Good deal. All right. Perfect timing, because Cody, it's your turn.
Yeah, sorry about that. If it was going to cut out on me at any point, I was cool with it being this fight. I don't have much to add. This fight, for me, absolute pass. First of all, can y'all hear me okay right now?
Yes, you're good.
I don't know. I always have problems with this website for some reason. But anyways, don't have much to add. Jillian Robertson, not somebody I want to lay chalk on. 29, I think she has the higher upside at this point of her career, but I'm not going to trust her at this line. If I was going to play a fight like this where I feel like it's a high variance, unpredictable fight, I would play like a Waterson sub 12-1 or like Robertson KO just in case, like a ground and pound TKO 8-1. I don't hate like a kind of big plus money prop like that because I feel like this fight could go a lot of different ways. But for me, it's just going to be a pass. I have a lot of bets on this card. This is one I'm just going to sit back and watch.
Hey, fair enough. The best bet sometimes is a pass. Yeah. I want to highlight Effie being hilarious, talking about our Arlovski breakdown. He's going to sync it up with the fight tomorrow and see which one ends first. Dude, that was hilarious. That was funny right there. That was a slam dunk. So we can move to the next one. We've got Peyton Talbot taking on Giannis Gamori. And I believe it is TB's turn to kick this sucker off. What do you think, TB?
Yeah, so in this fight, I was cruising around like, all right, well, missed the Peyton Talbot minus 300, from a few weeks ago. So how do we play this fight? There's got to be something here. And at the opener props, I caught a little over 1.5, was priced at minus 125 on Bet365. Said, well, Peyton Talbot's never finished a fight in the first round, and he's only finished under 1.5 in 2 of his 8 fights. It was an auto play, but here we are, and it's currently a minus 195 and minus 215 on different books here. So, damn, man, it's tough. Like, ultimately, like, please don't put a parlay with minus 1,600 in it. If there's one thing I can talk to you about in life.
Guru.
Yeah, and that's not even the one that lost. Like, I hate it. I'm not even going to be the one. He might be salty that I brought it up on Twitter again when he reposted about it. But ultimately, that's why you don't play these super chalky things, because sometimes America gets a red card and Panama ends up scoring multiple goals on them. So, like, in this scenario, that would be Peyton Talbot breaking his leg, going to check a kick from Yanis Gamori. And yes, so here's my argument about why the over 1.5, why like Peyton Talbot, and over 1.5 for Peyton Talbot round 3 or decision could be an interesting play, is because I think Yanis Gamori actually has a little bit more of a technical kickboxing background than anything Cameron Simon brought to the table in the last fight. He's not going to run in face first with his chin up in the air into the pocket, hoping to have success and hoping to get a takedown. Like, Yanis is a little bit more measured from distance. He's going to switch stances. He's going to try to keep his range. And against Gomi, up a weight class, switching from Caitlin Loughran to William Gomi in 1 week, I mean, that's not really cool, UFC. And ultimately, I could see why Gamori struggles in that fight. And the finish at the end, they're like, oh, that doesn't hit him in the cup. It's like, dude, did you watch it jostle like 360 around his entire ball sack? Like, I know Bisping only has one eye, but guys, like, even the people in France, like the backup, the replay official, they're like, yeah, it hit him in the balls. And like, all right, so round 3 KO for Gomi. Sounds good. It's sketchy as hell. And I think Talbot, like, shout out to Tyler 138 for giving the great nickname T1000, the Terminator. Peyton Talbot, I used it on the show this week, and Guru didn't remember that you gave it to me, so I love that. I got a little credit, right? But ultimately, from Tyler to Tyler. So I'll take the over 1.5 was my official. I had like 3 units on that bad boy, but Peyton Talbot round 3 decision is what I would tell you people to potentially think about. But then you're parlaying a minus 1,600, right? So, oh God, I hate it.
Heard that. And to Anakin's comment down there, yeah, it was definitely a low blow. It was definitely not a TKO. It was the weirdest thing ever. Mike, what do you think? I know you were talking about how the odds are a little crazy, so I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah, I mean, let me pull up my odds converter for this one. Hold on. This is important. Not enough people do this because not enough people understand what we're doing here. But minus 1,800 gives you a 94.7 implied probability. So they are giving Yanis less than just over a 5% probability of winning, right?
Sounds accurate, right?
We're nearing literal injury territory. Freak injuries happen, and we're getting to the point where like these odds are starting to cover that. And put that away. Talbot is still pretty untested, guys. He's still pretty untested. I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves. He was literally a pick'em with Cortez. He was a pick'em, almost I think slight favorite over Simon. Simon is a great fighter. That was a fantastic win. Don't get me wrong, but we're just going a little bit crazy. I think Yanis Gamori. I see why Talbot is probably going to beat the crap out of him. He's relatively flat-footed. He's pretty hittable. He's low output. Those can all be problems, but I also think that he was more low output his last fight than he usually is, because Gomes was not what he was preparing for, was completely in a different weight class. Hey, I wouldn't say AF, not AF, but yeah, I just think that it's crazy. Like, don't do that to yourself. Yeah, he should win. Talbot will win, but why put him in your parlay? He won't add anything, and then something stupid happens, and you lose your money, and you're upset all night. It's not worth it. I think there's like really no ways to play it. I mean, I normally would go for the round props, Talbot 2-3, but the prices are abysmal. Round 2 is what, like plus 250?
Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy for a round prop. Absolutely crazy. So there's really no real way to play this, in my opinion, unless you're going to take a shot on Gamori. I'm considering like just a 0.1 unit shot on the decision. It's plus 2,500. How wrong can I possibly be? But then Peyton's going to come out, get a freak injury, and I'll still lose my ticket. So probably won't do that either. I think I'm going to chill, watch Talbot go off, and that's it.
Fair enough. Shout out to Vulcan in the chat. What's up, Vulcan? Good to see you, brother. Let's roll on to Cody. What do you got for this one? Any hot takes?
No hot takes really for me, man. These two made some good points for sure. I think Peyton's good, but I mean, like Mike said, super unproven. I mean, I think also TB had some good points where, Yanni's probably is a more technical striker than a Cameron Simon. Cameron Simon kind of leans on his durability. He's just like a tough kid, but it's not like he's some technical masterclass striker. And I'm not saying Gamori is, but I mean, not a terrible kickboxer, and I mean he is pretty measured. So I think the overs. I don't hate that either. I don't hate somebody doing one of those like a bet where you're getting Talbot plus the over 1.5 or something like that. But I don't know how much that Talbot plus is adding. So maybe honestly just doing the over 1.5 or a sprinkle on the underdog. I can't bring myself to do it. I don't really want to get in front of this Talbot kid. I do think he's pretty good. The UFC knows what they're doing. They're not giving him a wrestler. They're not giving him anybody with too much power because he is hittable and he does get taken down. But I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. But these are banana peel prices, so I'm just going to stay off of it. No bet on this fight or the last fight for me. Tons of bets on this card, but just to stay away from me, man. I'm not huge on trying. Like Mike said as well. I was looking at. Oh, the second round is going to be the move. This guy tends to kind of cook people and then get a finish later. And then I look at it, I'm like, my God, this is insane. I mean, they're thinking this dude is going to be like the GOAT, apparently. So I'm just going to lay off of it. The pick is Talbot KO. I looked at sub was like plus 400 just in case he gets the back or something like that. I don't hate that, but just going to lay off of it, man. Not much from me here. What do you think, 138?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no meat on the bone, but I do think it goes late. And for me, the reason why is because Gamori's a good striker, and he has particularly good weapons up the middle. What he has is a good front kick and a knee up the middle. I like that a lot. And the reason that's important is because, like TB was saying, he threw it back to what I was saying about T-1000, that the Terminator from Terminator 2, that liquid metal Terminator just comes straight down the pipe at you. That's what he does. He comes forward, he walks through whatever the hell you're throwing at him. He'll just get hit, just keep on walking through it. You could shoot the guy, puts a hole in him, and guess what? It just heals back up. Dude just keeps coming. T-1000. That is Peyton Talbot. And the reason that a guy that has good weapons up the middle like Gamori could slow down a guy like Talbot is because at first he's going to have to identify how he's going to get around or past like these weapons coming up the middle. That front kick, it will intercept the forward movement of Talbot. Unless Talbot just steamrolls, but I don't think so. I think he's going to eat some front kicks up the middle, and I think what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to figure out, okay, I can either draw out this front kick and then go forward, or I have to go around it. That's what he's going to have to do. He has to figure out how to do that. So for me, it stands to a later finish in the fight. I think he probably gets it done round 3. At one point this week, round 3 was like plus 600 or something for Talbot, and around 3 KO or something, but it's long gone. There's nothing left to play. But yeah, Talbot's doing the darn thing. The guy's fantastic. I know everybody wants to fade the hot prospects or be like, oh, they're not actually that good. He's pretty good. I understand he's not a finished product yet, but for the level of guys he's fighting, he's pretty good. And the way he beat Cameron Simon is pretty impressive because Simon's not terrible. He's a decent fighter and a dirty fighter. So the fact that he was able to beat the guy and not just get cheated too bad. So that's impressive. So yeah, I think Talbot's good. I think it's going to be late because I think Gamori's got good weapons up the middle. And I think Peyton Talbot's the type of guy that back in the old days would have ran right into that phalanx formation and just got stuck on a spear and then be like, what, and had to pull the spear out and then because dude would have just tried to go right down the middle. When you can't, you have to go around the outside on the phalanx, and that's the problem that he would have had back then. That's the problem he's gonna have with the front kick. So that's my take on it. I probably went way too detailed there on a fight that we didn't need to. Moving on, we've got first off, there we go. T-1000 sticking, guys. Somebody, please let's all just start tweeting or like Instagram messaging to Peyton Talbot, being like, dude, T-1000 is your nickname. Like, that is you, brother. Like, start putting pictures of him next to that, like, dude from Terminator 2. Like,
I'm going to do it, but I'm going to take credit.
Oh, you dirty dog. Like, that was me, brother. That was me, but that's okay. I mean, take all the credit you want. He needs that name. I'm literally going to message him after this stream because
I'm already making a post.
Please do. He needs to know that is the name for him. And like, gosh darn it. I'll even send him the clip from this. I don't care. But he needs to know. Let's see. Mike's up next. Mike, you're going to talk about Charles Jourdain and John Silva. As soon as you're done, tweeting to Mr. Talbot.
I can't find his account, so I'll have to deal with that later. But
fair.
First of all, this is bothering me so much. TB's side profile is literally Arlovski. I can't.
Right? They're the same.
It's like
dude,
distracting.
We're actually from like I think he's Belarus.
Hold up.
In Belarus.
Charles is onto something here. Dude, he's possibly too young to know what Terminator 2 is.
I don't know. I feel like it supersedes culture, right? You have to know what Terminator is.
That's
just in
I
general.
hope so.
Yeah.
All right, back to what you're saying. Sorry, that just hit me.
No. You're good. You're good. We're from like the same area, I think, Belarus.
Oh,
that explains a lot because it's like I can see the joke when you're facing me. When you turn to the side, it's like, what the?
Like, oh, shit.
Same
like
guy.
when you guys see face-offs tomorrow, can someone impersonate Buday, take your tits out, see what happens here? Like,
Don't worry, man. You have the better nose. You have the better nose.
I appreciate that. It hasn't been broken 500 times. So.
And real quick to jump on to Mick Pooperton's comment here. Yeah, if you want to sub to anybody in this stream, all the links are in the description of this here live stream on YouTube. I don't know how it works on the Twitter, but click on those and go sub to everybody on here. And yeah, Cody's got a cool little cat running around in there, so like dude's got a dog behind him on the bed. The guy's an animal lover. How do you not like this guy? All right, now Mike, let's hear your breakdown, brother.
Yeah, I was staring at Cody's cat too because I have a cat and a dog, and my cat will do the same shit. She'll just post up somewhere and just watch, and it scares me because my cat's not the nicest. But in terms of the fights with Jourdain Silva, like I said in the beginning of this breakdown, one of my favorite fights on the card. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting ones. Both guys are going to go to war. I can't get to a bet here because I think the line is pretty damn accurate. I would if I was the bookie, I would have opened this pick'em because I think it's a pick'em. Jourdain has fought the better competition by far. He's been in the UFC longer. He's better tested, and he's a good striker with very good output, and he won't stop coming. Those are all great things, but he's hittable. His offensive grappling is pretty limited. He tries for takedowns. He doesn't get them because it's terrible, but not much of an offensive grappling game. And on the Gene Silva side, not a lot of tape on him. There's a decent amount of like actual fights you can watch, but a lot of them are round one finishes over complete and utter bums. So it doesn't tell you a ton. But the dude is a super dynamic striker. He's got a lot of weapons in his arsenal. The knees, the elbows, all super nasty. The hands are really good. He can start slow sometimes, but same goes for Jourdain. And I just feel like at the end of the day, if we're talking damage, I feel like Silva's going to do more damage. I think both guys are going to score similar numbers of strikes, and I don't see much grappling happening. So damage controls, I'm thinking Silva picks up a decision here.
Okay, Silva decision. Interesting. All right. Cody, what do you think on it?
Yeah, man, I guess me and Mike have been doing a lot of agreeing, so I guess it's good that we finally can be, on different sides here. I'm on the Jourdain side, man. I swear I am on an island with this pick. Everybody that I follow, whether they're actual bettors or just like friends, I think I don't know a single other person who is on the Jourdain side. That like at least the people I follow. I don't know. I mean, I did the show with Just Win the other day, and he said he was seeing people on Jourdain. I was like, dude, I swear everybody that I pay attention to is on the Silva side, and I respect that. I think this dude does have power. Both these guys are dangerous. I actually think his submissions are a little underrated. I think his jiu-jitsu is pretty solid, Silva. But and Jourdain's got nasty front chokes. I could see a fight ends in sub. I saw that was like 5-1. I don't hate that. But I just feel like, man, I got Jourdain at -120. I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded, better competition. I'm not high on Weston Wilson. That's me trying to be nice. This guy obviously got good.
Wilson's the GOAT.
Champion.
And
I was happy to see him get the dub last 2 weeks ago. That was nice. But at Jekasaragi, I mean, I don't want to take away from Wilson's dub, but it is what it is. It's barely a UFC level fight, but he's a giraffe on the feet. It didn't really tell me much that Silva can topple him over and beat him up on the feet. I feel like, Jourdain, more weapons. Could he get clipped? Could either guy get knocked out? It's possible, but neither guy has ever had their chin cracked. We've seen Jourdain get hurt, but he's able to, weather the storm. Silva, a little bit more untested, but this, I do think the kid's good. I think both these dudes are good. I consider it a buy low spot on Jourdain. I think he just got a little bit more weapons, a little bit more well-rounded, better competition. But this is going to be a fun fight, man. It's one of my favorite fights on the card, honestly. I think it's the sleeper fight of the whole card.
Yeah, well, so that's another thing, too, because, for a long time, I criticized Jourdain for the fact that he seems to want to have a fun fight more than he wants to win a fight, which I thought was accurate up until he fought Kron Gracie, and he did not give two craps about having a fun fight in that fight. He just didn't want to lose. So after the fight, he actually said that in his post-fight interview that was actually a mistake he was making. So I was on to something, but he fixed that in that fight. So I do feel better about him now. And actually, Cody, you got to watch my videos, brother, because I'm on Jourdain here. I think we actually I don't know if there's any fights on this card we disagree on. There might be one, but I can't think of any. So, because I watched your video yesterday, I think it was, I don't remember. Yeah, yesterday. Whenever I messaged you about the Arlovski thing yesterday, I think it was yesterday.
I purposely didn't watch yours after you hit me up about coming on the panel.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. So I think Jourdain's just going to be too much of a step up. I think he's probably going to win the later parts of this fight at a pretty high clip. He turns it on in the third, and he does a good job at it. He didn't really look that good as far as I'm concerned in the Woodson fight. But then again, I don't know that John Silva would look that good against Sean Woodson. So it's just he's such a hard style to prepare for. So I can't really hold that against him. But even in losses, Jourdain's keeping these fights close against guys that are much higher level, I think, than John Silva. John Silva's good. I think he's, coming up. He's doing well. But in this fight, I think it's going to be kind of a vet lesson. Jourdain's been around the block a little bit. I think he's just going to edge it out. I think I want to say round 3 finish or decision maybe. But yeah, I'm not confident either way. I do think that the overs a pretty good look, because I think if Jourdain gets a finish, it's at the end of the fight essentially. But the over is probably not the best line. I think it's minus 180 or something like that, or somewhere around there. So nothing too sticking out too much for a bet. I'm considering Jourdain if he hits plus money. I don't think he was last I looked, but either way, I haven't bet anything on this fight, but I am on Jourdain as the pick. JD's in the chat. What's up, brother? Dude, JD, you're always here, brother, and I appreciate that. So thank you. We're supposed to ask the cat for the prediction. We were just talking about the cat. That's perfect. I don't think the cat cares, brother, but
blink,
so, Cody,
blink once for Silva, blink twice for Jourdain. 3 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Once, Silva.
That's hilarious.
He would too.
He would too. He would. That cat.
He'd go against me for sure.
Bro, if I tried to hold my cat the way you're holding your cat right now, she would kill me.
This is what he wants, man. He's hating the lack of attention he's getting.
Pussy Whisperer right there. Cody. That's his name. He's the Pussy Whisperer.
Nice.
But TB, do you agree with the cat, or do you agree with me and Cody?
This is 3 versus 2 now. I'm with Mike and the cat, baby. Let's go. Here's the way I see it. I really like the Jimmy's fighting out of. I feel like Jourdain really yes.
That was good.
That's so good. That's amazing. So I feel like ultimately here, Silva is the better athlete from what I've seen. I think he does better with his timing on the counter punching. He's not necessarily just an all-out brawler as much as he is potentially split personality or whatever he's got going on over there as he's making his entrance to the cage and having his interviews post-fight. But shout out I think the fact that Jourdain has never been knocked out, but he's been knocked down plenty of times. And I've seen this guy definitely hurt before. And I think that's where the power gilly could come into effect potentially. Like Silva, he's got a couple subs on his record. And I think if he's not able to get that knockout, but he is able to get the knockdown, that there could be a little something interesting there. But ultimately, get in the plus 100 before it flipped to the minus 105. I was happy to get in on the Silva side. Kept it to 1 unit instead of like, I went 2 units on Volkov last week and 2.5 on Volkan Ozdemir because they have a lot more experience and proven tape that they could beat a meme fighter. And I don't think Jourdain is a meme fighter. And I think Silva has a solid chance to win when he was at the dog pricing. And even now, I still just think he's the better athlete with the better gym, making more improvements on a camp-to-camp basis with the guy he's in the gym with. And I think he's going to be the quicker, faster counterpuncher here. And Jourdain, he's never really seemed to have that good of a process. Like beating Kron Gracie in this era is like not – I mean, I watched that fight live. Like Kron Gracie did nothing to actually like – attempt to win the fight. Like it was basically like the diet version of what we saw when we had Puelles versus Dan Hooker. They didn't quite get the TKO stoppage, but it was just as pitiful and disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead. We got the Jan Silva side. I didn't go with the prop.
Fair enough. And I think that was everybody on that one. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we got that one. Good. Yeah. Everybody's got that one. I didn't update the description. Yeah, okay. So McPooperton's saying I didn't update the description because we originally had another guest and Cody jumped in as a short notice replacement. So if you want Cody's link, click on my PFL breakdown I did with him earlier this week and get that one. Otherwise, or Cody, if you can drop it in the chat, that'd be sick. After you break down this next fight because you're first, but. You are breaking down Cub Swanson, Andre Fili. So, Cody, what do you think on that one? And we'll go from there.
Yeah, no. I think it's going to be a fun fight. This one, the Waterson fight, these are like the 2 fights for me on the card that I don't really have a super strong take. I like Fili. I think he has the higher upside at this point. I think he can probably outwork Swanson, even though Swanson has typically been pretty good when it goes to decision. He's pretty good at winning decisions, even though he's thought of as a finisher. That being said, man, he is 40 at this weight class. I think Fili is the bigger guy, going to have a little bit of an athletic, probably even speed advantage at this point in Swanson's career, even though that probably wasn't the case a couple years ago. And I think Fili, he's had a rough run lately. So I think, both of them have, but, Fili, I feel like has a little bit more left in the tank. Will we see? I wouldn't be shocked if Swanson retires after this fight. It seems like he's kind of 1 foot out. And if you're not Andre Arlovski, I'm not betting you when you're 1 foot out. No, I'm kidding. But I just feel like, I don't know, man. You got to side Fili, I guess, gun to my head. But this line, do I want to lay minus 250? He did just get knocked out brutally. When you really try to break down his wins and losses, I was kind of shocked that I kind of forgot how, I don't know, he really doesn't have really any noticeable wins. The Aljao fight, but man, he had to hold on for dear life in that fight to get the win. I don't know, man. I think this is a little closer than the line indicates. I'll side Fili, but probably just going to be a pass for me, man. This and the Waterson fight are like 2 fights where I just feel like I don't have a strong enough lean to make any bets. Hopefully you guys have a strong.
I definitely get that. Like the line is super wide, and I agree that the line is if you're betting, if you're looking for a bet, the Swanson side is probably the side to bet. But I'm a big Andre Fili fan, so like I can't in good conscience pick against that guy, especially again when he's fighting like a 40-year-old Cub. But at the same time, like Cub Swanson's, it's not like I'm not a fan of Cub, but I'm a big Andre Fili guy. The guy's awesome. I root for him in pretty much every fight. So I'm picking him, and I'm not going to bet him because I realize the line's way too wide. That Swanson has a real shot. So, maybe you play the plus 3.5. I don't know what that is, but like that covers a lot for you there. I feel like Swanson probably wins a round if it goes to decision. I do think it goes to decision. I really do. I think it's be a close fight. So for me, Fili's the pick simply because I'm a big Fili guy. But also we have like 50 of y'all watching, so thank you guys for skipping out on the debate and coming to watch us. I do appreciate that. Even the UFC moved their press conference earlier for the debate. We go head to head because we know who the real ones are and where they want to be. Shout out to Daz down here in the chat. What is up, brother? I'm so glad to see him. Yes, one last ride. That is what I'm talking about. That's the way to go. Lucas, yeah, dude, seriously, Lucas, he looked pretty good, and I'm with it. Touchy pervy. Okay. Getting wild down there. Sounds like we got some people subbing to Cody. That's good. I dropped your link down there, so I hope you saw that. But Andre, I mean, golly, gee whiz, TB, you got me again. TB, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, ultimately, I think Fili, the size advantage, youth, but like in a good way, like 34 versus 40 is much better than like 20 versus 26, and I think that while Fili is disappointed, he's been hurt by, really good, powerful, athletic strikers. Like Cub is probably just going to be doing just enough to make it interesting, but not enough to like get a stoppage. And Fili has a bit of offensive wrestling to fall back on. The dude lands over 2 takedowns per 15. He does it quite frequently when he doesn't feel comfortable in exchanges on the feet. I mean, he lands multiple takedowns on Sodiq Yusuff. It's just that he's pretty strong and a good scrambler. Cub, I think, is going to struggle with the length and the size and the youth of Fili overall. So, yeah, I really feel, this is going to be Fili, but I think it's actually kind of fun to get plus money on the fight goes the distance here because you're covering like the Cub greasy split decision win. And the fact that Fili might find a way to disappoint in that, like his KO is more probable than his decision line. And I think that that's a little bit mispriced.
Hey, that's fair. I'm with it. Mike, how do you feel about it? You agree?
No. That's serious. We rocking with Cub, baby. Let's go. I mean, look, as a straight pick, I honestly, for all my videos and all my breakdowns, I picked Cub as a straight pick. So I'm going to stick with it. This is the way I see it. Swanson's 40 years old, right? Yeah, okay, I get it. But other than the 2 kick knockouts, right, by Giga and by Martinez down a weight class, when was the last? Do you guys know when the last time Cub was knocked out? I didn't, so I had to look it up. 2009 against Jose Aldo by flying knee. Still not a punch, by the way. He's never been knocked out by a punch in the UFC. And is Fili going to knock him out? I mean, anything can happen. It's MMA. But look, truth is, I think Swanson's still durable, even at 40. I think even at 40, he's still got the power. Like you hear it pretty often. Power is one of the last things to go. Even at 40, he's still a crisp striker. Even at 40, he's still got the output. Even at 40, he's still got good takedown defense. So for me, I think we're going to be on the feet for the majority of the fight. And on the feet, do I think this is going to play out minus 200 Fili? Do I think this is going to look 70% Fili or whatever it is? I don't. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think Swanson's going to put it on him. Fili has been outstruck in a lot of his fights. Like I pulled it up because I wanted to go over it. Dan Ige outstruck him, knocked him out, whatever. Almeida, he outstruck him, knocked him out. Wood outstruck him, inflated bantamweight. Algio outstruck him. Brito outstruck him. Pineda didn't. Pineda is pretty low level. Bryce Mitchell outstruck him. Charles Jourdain outstruck him. Sodiq Yusuff outstruck him. He gets outstruck a lot because he doesn't have very high output. He's a good striker. He has very underrated power. Does Fili? I'll give him that. Going into the Ige fight, I had Ige and I wasn't super confident because I do think that Fili does hit hard. But at minus 200, I don't think it's enough. And the wrestling, yeah, he does have wrestling to fall back on. Maybe it does help him win this fight. But do I think it's going to really help him at a really high clip? No, I don't. I think Cub is going to be able to keep stuff the takedowns. And on the feet, I think it's going to be a really good fight. And I'm happy to hold a plus 200 ticket on Cub. I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the bet, like you said, there's tons of value there. I won't be surprised at all if he wins. I would just feel so dirty rooting against my guy. So we're not going to do it. Sometimes you gotta pick with your heart sometimes. I know people get so frustrated about that. And I think people just take this stuff too seriously because like you don't have to bet on every fight. And if you don't want to bet against somebody that you like I will tell you this now. I don't care if he's fighting. I don't care if they put him against Alex Pereira. I'm never going to pick against Julian Erosa. That is my guy. He is my favorite fighter. I will never pick against him. He could fight Godzilla, and I'd be like, Juicy J is getting it done 100%. Because like that's my guy. I'm not going to pick against him. So it's like it's one of those things. So
I already bet him for his next one.
Dude, I saw that. That was sick. I think he went, but like that's the thing. I always think he wins, but I also know I'm biased. So I try not to bet his fights anymore just because I know that like I'm completely biased and blinded. But either way, I think Erosa is going to beat. I think he beats C-Rod, no problem. So I think he probably pressures him up against the cage, doing that thing where he walks forward with his chin down, swinging big hooks, and C-Rod's going to go, oh shoot, and he's going to start backing up a little bit, and then he's going to try and shoot a takedown, and guess what? He's getting Darce choked, and it's going to be a good night, and Juicy J's getting another first round win.
That line is crazy, bro. Crazy.
Absolutely absurd. It was like plus 220. I think you got plus 210 or 220 or something like that. Yeah, insane. So I know that's a breakdown for another day, but your boy's always on Juicy J. I'm picking Juicy J. So anyway, on to the next one. What do we got next? We got Joe Pyfer taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. Yeah, I like Pyfer here. I think Pyfer gets this one done. I think he's probably going to knock him out. And earlier this week, you could get Pyfer by knockout at plus 200, and I thought that was absurd. So I took it. I think Marc-Andre is very, very skilled at a couple of things specifically, and that is cage boxing, basically getting you up against the cage and dirty boxing the heck out of you. And I think he's very good at putting a pace on you. And I think that that's great, but he's going to come straight forward and he's going to run right into the power of Pyfer. And let me put this out there. I understand that Barriault is very durable, but Pyfer hits so freaking hard. Now I understand that also he wasn't able to knock out Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson is vastly better than Marc-Andre Barriault. So for me, it's Pyfer. I think Pyfer's learned from his mistakes in that Hermanson fight. I would assume. I think he's going to get this one done. So for me, Pyfer all day probably gets the knockout. But what about you, TB?
Yeah, I like it, man. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably Joe Pyfer and inside the distance. So him by any type of finish here, I'd be happy with. I definitely think that if he doesn't feel comfortable with pace pressure, he can land a takedown, and Barriault's grappling really isn't special by any means. And he could just get one of those powered arm triangle submissions like, Pyfer, it's plus 100. So I feel like him inside definitely is like the Occam's razor of this fight. Like if, what's the most likely thing to happen, that's probably it.
It's a good play.
If Joe could be mentally broken and it could just be donezo, but for him as like a prospect, but I don't envision that. I'm not going to parlay him at this price. I feel like it's probably appropriate. So yeah, I mean, if he's going to cover this price, it's going to be inside the distance. Like if you're going to decision with Barriault and it's not like 10, 12 minutes of top control, I mean, I just don't like it, from a betting perspective. So that's why, yeah, just cut it down. Plus 100 inside.
Yeah, that checks out. Mike, are you same side or?
No, I am. I'm not doing my usual this time. I was just laughing, JD. Dude, you're so late to the conversation. Party.
Come on, man.
I was. Oh yeah, he was a little late this week.
You're really late.
Kinda. Look at this.
I was distracted for a good 10 minutes by
JD. They're the same guy
profile, but I'm going with the square play here. I mean, I haven't played anything. I'm currently searching for a parlay piece with the under 4.5 for the Jerry Pereira fight. So maybe Pyfer, because I honestly don't like anything else. Because obviously you guys have seen we're now like 7-8 fights in, and I think I've picked the dog for every single one except Seruya, Talbot, and Simone, and I ain't parlaying those three. So maybe it'll be Pyfer if I decide to do it. But the way I see it is this. MAB, he is the type of guy to, if you are still questioning Pyfer's cardio, which I think I am still, I'm still trying to decide how good it is. MAB is the type to test it. He'll bring the pace. He'll bring the pressure. But at the same time, he's a punching bag. He does not have great striking defense. I think that he can be knocked out. I think he can be subbed. I don't think his takedown defense is that good. And I think that Pyfer has really underrated grappling. I think people don't talk about the grappling of Pyfer because he has that power and he's been knocking people out, so it doesn't matter. But that's why I played Pyfer sub against Al Hassan, because I felt like Al Hassan might present enough of a threat on the feet where Pyfer will use that grappling that I know he has. And he has really solid grappling. So I think that Pyfer will finish in this fight either a knockout by hurting MAB because his striking defense isn't good, or a takedown into a submission. I think that's possible too. If I had to play a prop there, it would be Pyfer sub. I think that's a pretty underrated spot. But yeah, for me, it's Pyfer. We'll see if he'll be my parlay leg. Probably not. But I kind of want to parlay that Pereira Jiri under 4.5. So we'll see. Or 3.5, I think it is.
Fair enough. Cody, how do you feel about it?
Hey, I'll just shout it out. I was going to wait till we got to it, but I will say I have that parlayed, that under 3.5. I have that parlayed up. That's my other Simon parlay. Actually, we haven't talked about the second leg to the other parlay. I said I have two legs. The first one is Simon and the under 3.5 in the main event. But we'll talk about that later. As far as this fight, man, I don't have a bet on this fight. I was big on Jack Hermanson against Pyfer. I planted my flag on that one and had a big bet on him. And obviously that worked out, but I don't think Jack, I think Jack, the reason I was so confident in him is not only is he durable, has good cardio, kind of well-rounded everywhere, generalist. And I knew that Pyfer's kind of front-loaded. The problem with it in this fight is Marc-Andre is too content to just stand in front of you. And he's durable, but he doesn't have the footwork, or he doesn't move like Jack does. And I think he's just going to stand and plot right in front of Pyfer. And Pyfer's not a guy you want to stand in front of, man. He's a huge dude, and he hits like a truck. Now, am I buying that he has the whole punch record? It's funny nobody's talking about it this time, but during the Jack fight, it was like, bro, he beat Francis Ngannou's punch. Shut up. That machine's so dumb. But
Pereira actually beat it in that, I believe.
Yeah, that one I'll believe. But Pyfer doesn't hit as hard as Francis, man. Relax. But yeah, of course I got the notebook, man. But in this fight though, I feel like Marc-Andre's style, if you're just gonna stand in front of Pyfer and you're not gonna wrestle and you're not gonna move, you're just gonna kind of, Marc-Andre's got that. He's a former hockey player, so he just likes to clinch and throw those dirty uppercuts. And I honestly love that style, but not against Pyfer, man. So I think this could be a situation where, like the Chitty fight, if you're going to stand in front of Chitty and you're not going to move, you're not going to wrestle him, you're going to get knocked out. And if you're going to stand in front of Pyfer and you're not going to move, you're not going to wrestle, you're probably going to get knocked out. So I think Pyfer gets it done. I think he knocks him out. I think it's a good bounce back fight. The only way he loses in my eyes is, like TB said, if this dude's truly broke. Sometimes these young guys, when they get their first loss on a big stage, they just never recover. But I don't think Pyfer will go down like that. I've heard him on a couple podcasts, and even though he doesn't come off the most likable, a lot of people just hate this guy's attitude. But as far as a competitor, I think he's gonna come in with his head on straight, gets the win here, bounces back, gets in the dub column. I'll pick him by knockout, but no bet on this one for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I get the no bet there, but we got a shout out that we got a legend in the chat here. As we cross the 60 viewers mark, we've got a legend, Lou Betcha, absolute legend. If you don't know Lou, Lou's the man. So good to see you, Lou. Thanks for coming out, brother. Glad you're here. Great Aspie asking where the MMA guru is. Yeah, I don't know, dude. He didn't accept my invite. So next time he's streaming, hop on his chat and tell him, be like, yo, dude, you need to collab with 138 MMA. So start dropping that down there. I'll let him on, but he's got one more shot. If he ghosts me next time, I'm done with that guy. So
that would be a hilarious duo. Absolutely.
Dude, we would have way too much fun. It would be absurd.
Spend the entire stream trying to roast you without realizing that it's hard to get through your skin. And then
dude, I just don't get upset.
And then you'd be ripping back, and it would be a fantastic time.
It'd be so much fun. I would. So great Hatsby, dude. If you do me that solid, start shouting me out in there, and be like, yo, you heard about this 138 MMA guy? You need to get him on your stream or go on his, whatever. I would be kind enough to let the MMA guru come on my channel. We got Classical Andrew in here. You could see that's if you were on YouTube. Unfortunately, he's using one of my fancy emojis because Classical Andrew, this man is a channel member, and I appreciate the heck out of you for it. So So that's awesome right there. We got the Dogfather in the chat. The Dogfather here, look, he's coming to support his best friend, the Couch Warrior. You guys are like two peas, man. Two peas in the same pot.
That's
you know what I mean?
My guy, baby. That's my guy. We're gonna drag his ass on the panel sometime soon.
The two best friends that anyone could have. That is exactly what you guys are. And that's adorable. I like it. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad he made it out. So good to see you, dog. What do we got next? We got Ian Machado Gary taking on Michael Page. Like the Venom part, you think it's like a hyphenated last name with the way that everybody has to include them, but by golly, it's not. McPooperton wants to come on the panel. You know what, dude? Yeah, anytime. You let me know. We'll make it happen sometime. I can't do anytime, actually. I can only do the odd-numbered ones, the even or couch. But TV, you're kicking off this one, I do believe. We got Michael Page taking on Ian Machado Gary. What do you think?
Let me tell you, this is one of the fights I was most excited to get into the tape for, because who doesn't love watching some MVP fights, right? So I get into it, and I'm like, damn, there's something actually a little bit concerning, because I came in assuming that I'd end up with a bet on the dog side on MVP, and the tendency he has is to kind of circle away, bring you in. He uses feints, hands down, and then when he finally decides, like the Cobra strike, when he like lashes out and gets into the pocket, he throws that 1-2 or that quick overhand or that one strike. It's like 95% of the time he ends up in the clinch one way or another. And it's whether he hurt his opponent, then trips them, or ends up where his opponent tries to grab him and he kind of squirts out of there. It's like, I just don't love how anytime that he's going to engage on his terms instead of counter punching off the back foot. And I think that that's what Gary's going to kind of make him do. Is I think Gary's going to be feinting, throwing calf kicks, and then making Page be the one to kind of strike first on him. That's how I see this fight playing out. Gary's going to be patient in that regard. And then I think the wrestling and grappling that are in the back pocket of Gary, I mean, back to his Cage Warriors run, all the way up to him training out of Shute Box these days and working exclusively with, some really good wrestlers and grapplers. And you see a lot of tape of his improved scrambling and all this stuff, because certainly, there's things not to like about Gary. There's plenty of things, but at minus 138, I had to get some money down. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's by finish, but just in case we see some really fluky stuff. And, I felt like the money line was close enough to where it could be one of those hindsight, wow, like given how much success he was able to have in control time or grappling on top of his ability to be a good striker. I'm not going to say he's some elite. I don't think he's like the best of the best as far as the prospects go, but he's solid and he knows how to win a fight. So I think he's going to do the smart thing here.
That's fair. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I'm Team Gary here. Honestly, like part of me thinks this line's only even close because people just hate Gary, at least from what I'm seeing on the internet. I feel like the line makes sense. I played Gary when he was minus 130 something. Let me tell you, hold up. Minus 130, I played Gary to win one unit. The way I see it is close striking match where one guy has a ground game and the other one doesn't. That's how I saw it. Page, he's powerful. He's explosive. He's a good striker. I would say top-notch striker. And his movement is really, really good. He's really hard to find. He's really hard to track down. Those are all good things. And the takedown defense has improved a lot. I'll give credit where credit is due. But he can still be taken down. He can still be controlled. He's low output. Even though he has that good movement, that is his defense. If you can crash the pocket, if you can back him up and cut the cage, he doesn't have defense because his hands are low. His defense is his movement. If you can stop that movement, he doesn't have defense. So I think that Gary can track him down. I think that Gary does have really good striking. I think he has really good footwork as well. Gary is a younger guy. Page is already very good, but he ain't improving. Gary's already very good, and he's still improving. Fight to fight to fight, he's getting better. In his first fight against Jordan Williams was outstriking him. Jordan Williams was outstriking Gary. That wouldn't happen now. Gary has leveled up every single fight. He's gotten a lot better. And with the striking already being close, in my opinion, I think that with the grappling, he can win this fight. And people will laugh at that. They're like, when does he grapple? Neil Magny? Well, how about watching some tape outside of the UFC? Yeah. I mean, Jack Grant, who's having a fantastic PFL career right now, top notch, very, very good grappler. What did Gary do there? Took us back. Had a bunch of grappling success there. Gary is a good grappler, and he's been spending the last 2 or 3 camps at Shootbox. And he's a smart guy. You know what? I want to say he's a smart guy, but again, I mentioned the age thing earlier, right? When you're being too young, you're dumb sometimes. He's dumb sometimes. Like, and then Magny fight, like, what the hell were you doing, brother? Can he drop the ball? Absolutely. Is it scary playing him at chalk against someone who's pretty top notch, like MVP? Yeah, it's a little bit scary. But minus 130, I felt that the line could be a little bit wider. I think we're getting closer to where the line should be. And I think Gary could pick this up. I'll probably end up playing Gary sub as well. I haven't, just because I missed the initial lines, which were crazy. I mean, round 3 sub was plus 6,500. And you know I would have played that. But I did not because I didn't see it. And now it's late. But the last time I passed up on sub props because I was too late was Weston Wilson. And I was preaching that shit weeks before the fight even happened. Missed the line, didn't play it, and missed out. So I think this time I'll end up doing it anyways. I'll probably play some form of Gary sub, maybe sub round 2. I saw like plus 3,000, and sub round 3 is like plus 4,300. I'll take a shot on those, and I have the money line. I like my spot quite a bit.
That's fair. And you know, this is going to be where we split again, I believe. So Cody, you're on MVP, yeah?
Yes. I mean, I do got to lean the MVP side. Not super strong, typically it's pretty rare that I pick an underdog and don't bet them, but I don't have a bet on this fight. The line is starting to get a little bit wider where I'm like, damn, am I going to have to bet this fight? I told myself going into this fight that I was just going to sit there and watch, because I do feel like the way these two styles are going to clash, there's so many like what ifs. Like, I'm really interested to see who's going to come forward, who's going to be pressuring, who's going to be trying to play off the back foot or counter. I mean, I think MVP most likely is going to be the one going backwards, most likely. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the fight plays out. I think probably not even around 3 minutes in, you're going to see who is most likely going to win the fight unless somebody gets clipped and knocked out. Obviously, there's a finishing potential on both sides. Even though we have seen Page get finished, I think it was, and I was on Lima there. I had Lima. I had a big bet on him both times. And, but I will admit it was kind of a meme finish. Like, it was a little bit of a weird scramble. But I will say, I don't think Gary's just going to walk into the range like Holland was. Just like, I mean, literally Homer Simpson, like, oh, I guess I'll just keep doing what's not working at all. Let's not try to do anything different. Let's just do the same thing over and over for 15 minutes. Like, I don't think Gary's going to do that. I do think Gary fight IQ is pretty solid. I think he'll do what he needs to do to try to edge a decision. So I don't hate the thing. Mike was bringing up good points. I think he probably will clinch, but I don't really see a lot of wrestling from either guy. I mean, especially on the MVP side, of course, but I don't really think Gary's going to like shoot takedowns, but I could see him putting MVP up against the cage, kind of wearing on him a little bit there, slowing MVP down. I do think, of course, though, you still like, there's nothing wrong with mentioning the grappling advantage, because I do think, of course, if they go to the ground, there's going to be an advantage there for Gary. Even if he's more of a striker, he is training a shoot box, not just Oliveira, but lots of good black belts around. But I just feel like, I've seen MVP survive on the mat with some great grapplers, and I mean, not a ton, but a couple solid grapplers. And I think it's hard to trust Gary to really like wrestle here. I think they're going to play out on the feet. I think it's going to be a close fight. But the one thing that scares me on the Gary side is, man, that striking, and I'm not even talking about the Song fight. I'm so tired of everybody bringing that up every time this guy fights. It's a cage fight. Anybody can get clipped. So I'm not really if anything, that showed me that he's tough and he weathered the storm there. So I'll give him props there. I'm not even really bringing that up. I'm just saying in general, really more like in that Jordan Williams fight. And like you said, I do think he's improved a lot since then, but I do think the striking defense is a little bit of a hole in his game. I think he does tend to throw some of these combinations with his chin up. And man, if there's one thing MVP, even at 37, can do, is find the chin, man. He's a sniper. And even though he's been knocked out, and we haven't even seen Gary lose, let alone get knocked out, I don't know if Gary can take some of those shots that Holland was taking. So I actually honestly think if there's a finish, it's probably MVP knocking Gary out. But it's hard to be confident on any side. Overall, man, I think it's a it's like a coin toss for me. It's getting to the point where I'm like, I mean, if you're going to give me plus 150, like maybe I'll have to just take a dog shot. But he is 37. I've honestly never been super high on MVP, but I just think this is going to be a close fight. You guys are making good points, but yeah, give me the plus money dog. I don't know if I'm going to get around to it. Maybe, this line keeps growing and then I do, but no bet on it for me right now. It's going to be a close fight. If anything, maybe I take MVP by knockout plus 420, giggity. Because I do think if he clips him with any of those shots Holland was taking, Gary's probably getting knocked out. But it's a close fight, man. What do you think, 138?
Yeah. So I've gone back and forth on this one. This one's the one I've gone back and forth on the most because I think we're going to get is a judge's decision. And I think it's going to be one of these where Gary probably gets some cage pushing time, control time. And I think they're both going to land similar volume, but it's going to be pretty low output for both guys. But I do think that MVP is going to land the harder shots when he lands. And I think it's going to come down to whether the judges are favoring the similar output, but yet there's control time on the Gary side, or similar output, but there's a little more pop in the shots from the MVP side. I'm going to side with MVP because I think the judges are favoring the striking more now. But I'm passing on this one. This is the kick your feet up on the coffee table. You crack open your ice cold root beer and you just have a good time. That's what we're gonna do here, or a bad time, depending on how low volume this gets. Because I do think it's gonna be low volume. I think it's gonna be a lot of them looking at each other because neither guy wants to really go first because that's just kind of what happens sometimes. So that's what I think happens. But I'll side with MVP. But yeah, it's a pass as far as bet. But I got to shout out Kiwi Brew. Good to see you again, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, Kiwi. So I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Cheer to you, my friend. Let's go to the next fight. I don't need to say any more about that one. We have Mayra Bueno Silva taking on Macy Chasson. And I believe Mike is kicking this one off. Mike, let's hear your take. I'm on the edge of my seat, brother. Let's get it. Can't hear you, brother.
Damn it. I hate when that happens. But what I was saying is that I just feel that, so for me, I usually look to bet Macy. I like Macy when she's an underdog. I think that she's really big for the division. I think she's physical, and I think she's improved a lot in both her striking and her offensive grappling. But she's still super hittable, still kind of fights like a dummy. Gas tank is not the best. And when she goes for takedowns, she sticks her neck out there like it's her job. And with Mayra Bueno Silva, again, I usually look to fade her as well because the cardio sucks, and that's a pretty big problem. But she's got a really good submission grappling game. She's got, not the best striking. Neither of them is an elite striker, but at least Mayra Bueno Silva hits harder than Macy, in my opinion. So I think she has more finishing upside here. I think that she can at least win 1 or 2 rounds. It's close. It's shaky. I'm not taking a money line here because I'm not super confident. Had I gotten an early Macy line, plus 150 or higher, I would have gone with Macy. But what I did instead was I did Mayra Bueno Silva sub plus 375 for a half unit because I think Macy's going to run right into a guillotine or a Darce. And then I also sprinkled just a little bit of a sprinkle. I sprinkled Macy round 3 and Macy knockout round 3. I got the round 3 prop at plus 2,000. I got the round 3 knockout prop at plus 4,300. So kind of played both sides here in the ways I think they would win. But I think it's a close fight. I lean Mayra Bueno Silva because of the finishing upside, but I wouldn't bet the money line.
Yeah, I get that. That's fair. I love that you played the round 3. I love that prop. Is that still available at that number?
I would have to go look, but it was yesterday.
Because that's something I would entertain. I haven't jumped on it yet, but I'd entertain that.
Plus
Cody, what do you think on this
bet
fight?
online? The other one was 43. My bad.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah, Cody, what's your breakdown on this? We got.
Yeah, look, man. Like I said earlier, I hate that I have to do this twice because I really try to stay positive and not trash talk fighters. But look, I had to say it against Martin Buday, and I got to say it again. Mara Buena Silva sucks. She's not good. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, but she fought in a title fight." Okay, cool. This division is cooked. Okay? Anybody could fight in a title fight. Okay? She doesn't wrestle. She finally wrestled against Raquel. How did that work out? She gassed out in like 10 minutes. Everybody's saying, oh, she ruptured an eardrum. She was sick. Yeah, whatever, man. This girl's always been gassy. I think, like Mike said, Macy does find a way to like make bonehead decisions. I mean, she literally got knocked out by an up kick to the body. Jesus Christ. I mean, like, just an absolute meme way to lose. I think that's the only way Silva wins. I don't blame, even though it's kind of a square bet. Like, I would have maybe got on that sub for Silva. I probably would have, honestly, but I missed the line. It's like 3-1 now. It was like plus 450. I don't really love it at 3-1, but hey, if any of y'all got it at like plus 450 or even really 4-1, I think that's basically her money line, man. I mean, maybe Macy walks into a crazy overhand right, but man, I think this is Macy's fight to lose. She's bigger, stronger. Put her up against the cage, beat her up. She can take her down, even though I'd honestly prefer she doesn't. Just keep it on the feet. Mara Buena Silva is one and done with the striking. She loads up. Striking is not good. The wrestling is not good. She's got submissions off of her back. If this was any other division, I mean, yes, you see submissions off the back more often in women's MMA, but like the only reason this girl's so highly ranked is she's in the worst division in the UFC. I'm sorry, but you just typically can't rely on getting taken down and getting a sub in high-level MMA. It's just this division is just at an all-time low. I don't know, man. If Macy doesn't put herself in a stupid position and get subbed, I don't see how she loses, man. She should be winning the minutes here. I think she's Jesus, this guy. I think it's clearly her fight to lose. I think she's gonna beat Mara Buena Silva up, man. I bet her. I didn't get that crazy plus 165 that some people got, but I got her at plus 135. And the over in this fight, or the fight goes to decision, is the second leg to that second parlay. I got fight goes to decision at minus 160, parlayed with Simon at minus 210. And yeah, I think this fight goes to decision. I think the only way it finishes really is if Mara Buena Silva gets a sub. Macy's not a huge finisher. I will say Silva's pretty tough. I think she'll last 15, but I think Macy, she should win this fight, man. Gee, just don't get armbarred from on top. Please, God.
It's going to be a Darce, bro. It's going to be a Darce.
Get out of here.
I don't know. Take it away, 138.
So I've never agreed with the Dogfather more than I do in this moment right there. Macy
2-3.
I actually think Macy gets the finish. I'm leaning more towards round 3, but 2 is definitely possible because Macy showed in her last fight more willingness to go for a finish. And I liked that, first off. But also, I think Macy's the far better fighter. Kind of like Cody said, that like I don't think MBS is as good as people give her credit for. I understand she has got good jiu-jitsu. It's just not enough to win her fights against some of the ladies at bantamweight. Yeah, she caught Holly Holm in that ninja choke. That was slick, but like it's a low percentage move, especially just like in that situation. So what I see happening, Macy Chasson pushing Mara Buena Silva up against the cage for the first round, wearing on her, kind of dirty boxing her up, being the stronger, more powerful girl, able to do what she needs to do against the cage. Round 2 they come out. I think at this point, Macy's going to stick the jab at range. That's what she does well. She has a good jab, and I think she's going to jab up her face, get that nose busted up, get her bleeding a little bit. And I think the third round, MBS corner is going to say, hey, look, you need a finish here. And she's going to try to come out, go for a takedown. She's getting it stuffed, and then Macy's going to end up on top and pound her out for a finish. I see a ground and pound TKO for Macy. I think the inside the distance on, I think it was Wednesday, was like plus 400, which I like that. But the 2-3, like Dogfather said, that's, yeah. I mean, I feel like she's got a really good shot at getting the finish. I could see her getting a decision. I could, because Silva's not like, she's not like, if anything, she is tough, right? But yeah, I like Macy quite a bit here. I bet her really early, weeks ago when that line dropped on BetOnline. So I feel pretty good about that. But TB, are you with us? Are you against us? What do you think?
Yeah, well, seeing the line crashing earlier in the week, got a little plus 110 on the Macy side because I know no matter what, I could go ahead and play Mayra Bueno Silva's really only path to victory or its submission, and it'll be fine. So I feel like Macy has all the decision equity in this fight. And I kind of get what you guys are doing with the round 2, round 3, but we're also talking about someone that's never been finished before. And I think that, the jiu-jitsu, it's like she does get in these choke attempts by Rocky, but you could just see, like, even when she's gassed and, like, has already seemed to have given up, like, again, Macy's a bit bigger and she could force it a bit, but she's also a bit more inexperienced. So I don't necessarily trust the finish, but I get the angle. You guys are going for the generational wealth ticket, and you're not playing much to hit it. So I can't really hate it. I would say that 2 ways to play this fight. If you didn't get in on Macy, at plus money, you could do the Macy and like a round 3 decision is probably going to get you like closer to that plus money. I think her decision prop is probably the most correct answer. And if not, the plus 300 on the Mayra Bueno Silva submission is a way that you can hedge out, because I don't think she's going to knock out Macy. She just doesn't, she kind of hits hard, but I don't know. I think Macy would need to be gassed for it to really be a knockout. And I think in that case, she gets kind of sloppy in her shots and takedowns and leaves her neck out for a front choke or leaves her arm out in a scramble. So there's ways to hedge it out, but I got a little bit on Macy plus 110. Sounds
sensible to me, brother. I love it. We've got 3 fights left. We've been kissing the 70 viewers mark, and I appreciate all of you guys. Again, it's a reminder for the new viewers. Do me that solid. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. I do appreciate that quite a bit.
70?
Yeah, we've been at 70. Yep. We're at 69 right now, but it's been going 70, 69, 70, 69.
That's some bull crap. I'm going on Twitter.
There you go. That's right. All right. So, Cody, you're going to kick this one off. And again, I'm pretty sure we're on the same side. I'm pretty sure we've been on the same side for all these. Who do you got in Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze? Let me hear your breakdown on this one.
Yeah, man. This scares me. I can't believe I'm saying this in the year 2024. But I'm on Anthony Smith here, and I haven't bet. Dear God, have mercy. Plus 130 for Anthony Smith. I got on it early. I mean, I just think he's the side here, man. I'm not super big on Dolidze, and I think this is a bad scenario for him, man, especially coming off a couple tough fights. I mean, you could argue he won the Vettori fight. And don't get me wrong, he could chin Anthony Smith. We've seen Smith knocked out 10 times in his career, but he has had a long career. But I think that's pretty much his money line, man. I don't see him submitting Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, you can wiki cap this and say, oh, but he's been submitted 5 times. He's been finished 15 times. I think, Dolidze's got good jiu-jitsu, don't get me wrong. But I'd be pretty surprised if he just took Anthony down and submitted him. I mean, I can't really trust Dolidze even to come out here and wrestle a ton. He doesn't wrestle a ton. And then he makes some bad fight IQ decisions out here sometimes, man. Like sitting back on leg locks, giving up position. I don't think there's going to be a submission in this fight. I actually think, and this might be the real hot take, I think Smith wins by decision. Dolidze, well, maybe not, because Dolidze is tough, so I won't say that's a hot take. But Smith, you look at his record. If you just look at his record, you're gonna, seeing the fight go to decision, probably not common. But I think Dolidze is tough. I don't think Smith's gonna win, but I can't, Dolidze to come in not only short notice when we've seen him gas before, but up a weight class, and then at least Smith, he did have a little bit extra time. I get it's short notice for him too, but I just trust him on short notice more. And then also the fact that he even said it himself in all the interviews leading up to this. He was already sitting around training, asking Mick, asking Dana, yo, if there's anything falls out, let me know. Now, of course, he said he was angling for the main event. Or I mean, for that co-main, the original, what was supposed to be the Khalil Roundtree and Jamal Hill. And then he was angling for the Pereira if something happens in the Pereira Yuri, of course. I mean, duh. So at least this guy's been sitting around training and having in his mind, I could be fighting. Whereas Dolidze, like, where has he been at? I mean, you look at him on the socials, it looks like he's in shape, and he is a big guy. It's not like I don't think he can fill out at 205. It's just you're already having some gas tank issues. You don't throw a ton of volume, and you're not I don't think he's a great minute winner. And then that's why he's losing these fights that are arguably very winnable for him. I just think Smith, man, like, especially at plus money, he's the bigger guy naturally. Dolidze has power, and I think he's a strong dude, and he can fill out, but that gas tank is an issue. Now you're putting 20 pounds. This isn't just lightweight to this isn't just feather to light or a 10-pound. This is middle to 205. It's a big jump. And even if it's just the fact that having those extra 20 pounds on you, sometimes your body's just not used to that, and you just slow down even quicker than you typically do. So I don't know, man. I think Smith isn't a guy I've ever really been super high on. I typically look to fade him, but I think this is a good spot for him, man. And it's going to be interesting if he gets the win, especially if he were to get the finish, because he's going to be, Alex Pereira, quit ducking me. Oh, my God. Oh, man, this dude is delusional. But I think this honestly is a good matchup for him. Dolidze could chin him and make me look dumb, but I don't think he wins in any other way. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So there's two different Anthony Smiths. There's two different versions of the Parchment Pariah. Anthony Smith, there's two versions. He can either be the Anthony Smith that comes forward, goes just right forward, does what he needs to do, lands big shots. That Anthony Smith wins fights. That's the Anthony Smith that has like 30 some odd finishes. We just hit 80 viewers, so thank you guys for joining. So that Anthony Smith wins fights. The Anthony Smith that's willing to back up and then start like just fighting off the back foot, gets back up against cage and starts doing those like half-hearted front kicks to keep guys away. That Anthony Smith loses fights. I think it all comes down to his mentality coming into fights, and that's what happens with Anthony Smith. It's what version of him shows up, but Anthony Smith seems to be in the right mindset. I think we get the Anthony Smith that we want to see here, and I think he gets it done. We'll shout out some guys here. Let's see. Scott says we need Steve on here. Hey, maybe next time, huh?
It's a joke because I had Steve on my pod on Tuesday, and Scott was him a new one. So
yeah. Steve's always talking smack on you, but you were so kind as to have him on. So Couch, you're the bigger man here. There you go. Aussie fight fans on Dolidze sub. I don't mind it. I don't hate it, but like, I seriously think it's Anthony Smith. I think it's his time here. So, but yeah, we've got Effie also. There we go. Look at that. TB, what about you, man? Are you joining us on the Anthony Smith train?
Yeah, I feel like the betting angle for me is the fight goes the distance, because I don't think that Anthony Smith is finishing Roman Dolidze, and I think Dolidze is a bit overrated as a finisher. And that's where I don't think it makes sense to trust Dolidze at chalk to execute a game plan with cardio on short notice. So I totally see where you guys are coming from on the Smith play. I'm just so hesitant. I don't know. I feel like this is one of those fights where I'm going to keep it super light. Like it's not going to be one of my bigger exposure spots, but I lean towards the plus money fight goes the distance from like, I don't think that you can finish a guy like Roman. Like it's going to be very difficult. He's been hurt, sure, but even when he's hurt early round one against a legitimate fighter in Imavov, I mean, he still is pushing into the cage. And yeah, we're going to get a lot of clapping here, I feel like. But Anthony Smith's takedown defense, I just don't fully trust it either. I feel like he's a little too happy to end up on his back, and you're not just going to submit Roman Dolidze like that. So it makes me scared to take the Smith money line. But damn, man, I'm having a really tough time with the straight pick on this fight. I feel like I could get there on the Smith side, though. That's kind of what I was saying on the Chronic Combat show this week. So good call. I appreciate you guys taking the shot.
Heck yeah, brother. Heck yeah. Mike, what about you?
Smith Army, baby. Let's go. I didn't play the money line. I did a little different. I did Smith decision only. Way I see it is I don't really see Smith finishing at a high clip. Can it happen? Of course, because you guys kind of spoke to it. Dolidze, as it is, doesn't have great cardio. Now he's coming in on short notice, back up a weight class after going down to middleweight. The cardio is going to be an issue. So maybe Smith gets a late finish. I miss out on the cash. It is what it is. But at plus 115, I'm getting almost the exact same line as the money line. And I'm covering myself because for me, Dolidze and Dricus du Plessis are in the same category. I don't understand what's going on with either of them. To me, they seem like they should both be losing all of these fights, and then they just keep pulling it off. And I have no way to explain it. Like, it doesn't match up with what I'm seeing. So those two, I respect them. Like, I'm careful now with Dricus. I'm careful with Roman because they just pull it off. So would I be shocked if Roman can knock out Smith? No. I think Smith is, for someone who's been knocked out literally 10 times, he's pretty durable. As ironic as that is, he seems pretty durable to me. He's been fighting guys who hit real hard, like Ryan Spann, for example. Khalil hits like a train, took him 3 rounds to put Smith away. So I think he can still take a punch. But I played that decision only because I do think damn it. I do think it's possible that Roman can catch him. Roman does hit very hard. I'll give him that. And I do think that Roman can maybe pull some kind of crazy sub out of his hat. So that's why I took that little bit of insurance on the decision only. But in terms of just the matchup, like, I feel like I should like Roman more. He's literally my countryman and my fiance's countryman. She's Georgian. I'm Ukrainian. He's both. So I should love this guy. But I've bet against him almost every single time he's fought. So try not to be biased. For me, he's low output. He's hittable. I don't think his wrestling's that good. I think his takedown defense is bad. And, you know, he's been fighting at middleweight mostly now. In terms of actual light heavyweights who he's fought, Khadis Abrahimov and Staropoli. No, not Staropoli. John Allen. Both guys not big light heavyweights. Both guys not higher level heavyweights. And Smith, even in his career, he's still huge. He's still physical. And he's still, in my opinion, towards the top of the weight class. It's not exactly the steepest weight class in the world. I'm pretty upset that he's not fighting Oberg anymore because, yo, you guys all call Smith delusional. I don't think it was crazy. I don't think his thoughts were crazy. He was 2 strikers away from a title. 2 strikers away. Carlos Oberg and Pereira. Would both probably knock him out? Yes. But is it out of the realm of possibility that he pulled up, took them down, and subbed them? Absolutely not. Only reason I didn't play Smith 2024 champ is because it was only plus 3,400 and I felt like I deserved better. But truth is, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. Now with Dolidze's short notice, now we're getting iffy. But against Oberg, who's a striker, and Pereira, who's a striker, I don't think he was delusional. I think he's maybe reaching a little bit. He's being a little cocky, but they got to be. You can't be champ. Was Glover sitting around at 43 or whatever saying, I'll never be champ when he got the belt? No. He was delusional and thought he could win it, and he did it. So just saying. But yeah, I think Smith can win here. I think Smith should win here. I think Smith will win by decision, so I played this Smith decision-only prop.
Love it. Anthony Smith Army. As we hit 90 viewers, we go into the co-main event, and all 90 of you watching, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm so happy that everybody thinks Anthony Smith's got a really good shot. So that's good to hear. I mean, like he's a live dog. And honestly, I'm a big Anthony Smith fan, so that's pretty cool. But I kind of got to be. He lives like right down the street, so like I kind of got to be. But yeah, anyway, we go into the co-main event. I'm kicking this one off. Well, actually, real quick, Anthony Smith's entire head is scar tissue at this point. You know, it might be. It really might be. But the dude is still durable. Like, it's like Mike was saying, like the guy's still durable even though he's been knocked out. Like
It
the guy's
feels
not
super
out. They
stupid
really
to
got
say
to
it.
work for it.
It feels really dumb to say it, but I feel like it's just the truth. Like he is durable.
When his knockouts aren't like he's just getting like slept. I mean, kind of in the Khalil fight, but like most of the time it's just the refs like, dude, you've taken so much damage. It's like a mercy stoppage because like he's just eating these shots and just not going away. It's more of those knockouts. But in the co-main event, this is the one that I am most excited about. And in fact, let's see. Oh my gosh, lock your doors. I don't know that. So he actually just moved. So like I don't know his exact address anymore, but like I knew where his house was before he moved. Like because it's a small city. Like everybody just kind of knows where he was like right down the street. But he just moved. So he's a little further away now. But anyway, co-main event. So I'm gonna say this one for Mike. It's the aura. I'm just kidding, Mike. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. He's gone. He's out of here. I think Lopez is. I'm gonna take Lopez because I think that Ortega has. The circumstances surrounding the fight for Ortega aren't as good as the circumstances surrounding the fight for Lopez. Ortega's taken a lot of damage, and Lopez is the kind of guy that put out a lot of damage. I'm not confident in this pick, especially as the week goes on. Ortega is just such a dog, and like he's the type of guy that could pull it off. So I'm not very confident in this one whatsoever. This is similar to like the Gary MVP kind of fight where like I'm just gonna sit back and watch this as a fan. I don't have a strong enough lean to feel good about it, but I have to make a pick because like that's what we do. We sit in front of these cameras and make picks for the audience. All 96 of you guys watching. So that's what we're doing. We're making a pick, and I'm going to just take the Diego Lopez side, but I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna watch it. So that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, TB, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel like I end up somewhat confidently on taking Lopez here, but minimal exposure. I feel like it's the right spot that we've seen Ortega. I mean, both guys really don't have striking defense, if we're going to be honest here. Even though Ortega's improved his boxing, it's really from an offensive perspective. He still doesn't really defend strikes well. And then I feel like Lopez, I've seen just about every fighter he's faced land a nice combo early to start the fight before Lopez gets going. So I feel like ultimately Lopez here is going to be able to cause damage, and where other guys might not be confident to jump into a guard and go for a finish with a ground and pound or be able to capitalize on a grappling opportunity against Ortega. I think, Yair Rodriguez, the way he drops him a couple of times in the first round last time, like if that's Lopez, he's probably finishing the fight in that perspective. Now, he might not be as clean of a striker as Yair, but I think he is clearly the more explosive and agile athlete in this matchup. And he's bigger. He has a 3-inch height, 3-inch reach advantage. I think he's taken a lot less damage to this stage, even though, he has a couple knockout losses on his record. Ever since he started coaching and working with Grasso with the boxing, and I mean like the coach Grasso, the one that I think is it Alexa's father or uncle, something like that. But down at Lopo Gym, ever since he's taken on that coaching role, like body transformation, skill transformation, and yeah, I feel that he's going to be the more explosive athlete. And Ortega, we'll see you at 155, buddy, and see what happens there. I don't think he's just going to get the wrestling he needs, and it's not going to be a clean boxing matchup. This fight's in the clinch. He's getting hurt, and badly.
All fair points. And I definitely think you are onto something with when he started coaching thing, because we've seen it before where fighters start coaching and they do start to elevate their game quite a bit because they're constantly teaching other people, and it's just refreshing their memory on things. And that is a good point. So, Mike, how do you feel?
I don't know. This fight stresses me out, so I feel like I'm not going to play it. Way I see it is with Lopez or he's a hard guy to cap because he's good, man. He's real solid. He's not the best striker in the world, but he hits real hard. He's dangerous in the pocket. I'll give him that. His submission grappling is legit. Wrestling, not so much. Takedown defense, not so much. But he's an Oliveira type in that sense. I don't think he's really trying to fight off those takedowns too much because he's saying, you want to take me down? Let's go, brother. Like, that's cool with me. I'll sub you. But the blueprint is kind of out, right? We've seen it 2 times now. We saw it with Brito on the Contender Series, and we saw it with Evloev on Lopez's debut, right? And both guys, what did they do? They did the exact same thing. If you can take this man down, neutralize him in the first round where he's most dangerous, continue to do so throughout the fight, you can win the fight. That's all you got to do. Now, it's extremely easier said than done. A lot easier said than done, because if you look at it, Gavin Tucker and Pat Sabatini then also had what they needed to do exactly that game plan, and neither could. He finished both of them. So it's a lot easier said than done. But Ortega, durable dude. His striking is solid in his own right. He's pretty damn hittable. Would I be shocked if Lopez comes out there and just starches him? No, I wouldn't be too shocked. But at the same time, would I be shocked if Ortega survived the early flurries, took him down, used his own jiu-jitsu defensively, defend position, win minutes on the ground? I wouldn't be shocked either. So I low-key lean towards the Ortega side, but I can't get to a play. I'm just not comfortable enough about it. Like, I don't have a good read, I think. So I'm just going to pass and watch. If I had a better read on either guy, maybe I would take my shot, but I can make an argument for either one. I'll pick Ortega for the sake of the show, but that's it for me.
Oh, fair enough. Cody's up next. What do you got, brother?
Yeah, no, man, this fight's a banger. I'm super excited for it, and it is funny that everybody like the aura thing is pretty funny, but that aside, it is a confidence and momentum based sport. So like, there is something to like, it's kind of like with the Talbot situation. Do I think he should be minus 2,000? No, but it's like, it's tough to want to get in front of somebody who has a ton of momentum when at the end of the day, it's cage fighting, and confidence is, man, that's why I'm huge on like that. People always say that you get that 20% little boost when you get the title, or you get that championship, that like, I forgot the term I'm looking for, but like that championship level up that you get. I think it just comes down to that confidence, man. Like, so, you can call it aura, but the confidence, the momentum, he's definitely got a lot of it. And obviously Ortega had a good win in his last fight, but I mean, he did roll his ankle before the fight, but it was dicey, man. My boy was getting beat up, and then Yair just choked. I mean, I don't want to take away from Ortega's win, but he weathered the storm. But Yair he made some bonehead decisions there. TV. He made some bonehead decisions there that I think cost him that fight. And I think this is a good fight. I mean, it is interesting seeing Ortega talk about how this is the first time that he's ever had to worry about an opponent having a potential, a submission risk. He was talking about how he's only ever has to worry about like losing a decision or a knockout, but this is the first fight of his career, in his words, that he's had to at least respect his opponent's capabilities on the mat. That being said, I really don't see this fight. I don't think they're gonna grapple. I think these boys are about to go in there and brawl, honestly. A lot of times when you get two grapplers like this, they get in there, they're gonna respect each other's grappling. They're gonna say, man, it sounds like it could be pretty tiring to grapple this guy. I'm just gonna throw these hands. And I think Ortega might have the more technical boxing, but the power, the speed, the athleticism, the confidence, just the willingness to just go. We know Lopez, he's not the greatest minute winner, but this dude, that's where it comes back to that, like, when you're feeling yourself and you're dangerous like that, this dude just, I mean, he's willing to just walk through a wall, man. This dude, like, I don't know. I love watching him fight. He's just attack, and sometimes that'll get you in trouble. And that's why, he hasn't been the best when the fights get extended. But my hot take on this fight is, man, I actually think this fight's going to go to decision, and I actually lean Lopez. And I know he's not a big minute winner, and Ortega's been good when these fights go to decision. But I actually feel like, man, Ortega, there's one thing he's got still, and he showed it even in that last fight. He's got a chin. And as long as he doesn't have some sort of injury, I don't really see him getting finished, man. I mean, obviously, Lopez is always live to finish anybody. Doesn't matter what your chin is. If you eat that uppercut that Sadiq ate and that last fight, like that's putting out most of the division. People are like, oh, see, Sadiq doesn't have a chin. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? The human body is not designed to withstand punches like that to the head. Okay? Like that was a hard shot. But I gotta lean on the side of this fight going to decision. I think, even though it's tough to want to pick Lopez to win a decision the way he fights, I feel like, man, this is one where he's going to have enough moments that are going to edge these rounds. And I think both guys are durable. I think the submissions, the jiu-jitsu should cancel each other out. I don't see anybody getting like submitted on top. So give me Lopez by decision. I bet the over in this fight, I bet the fight goes to decision plus 150. I thought about the Lopez by decision plus 400, but I'm not counting out Ortega completely. Maybe he can get on top. I don't think he'll sub Lopez, but maybe he can win some minutes there. I'm just going to take the over and the fight goes to decision and just call it a day. I lean Lopez by decision, but I'll just take FGTD plus 150.
There you go. Love it. See, Mike's been the outlier in most of these picks, which is usually kind of the case, Mike. You kind of like to be the contrarian. That's your style.
I don't like it. It's just what happens, bro.
It's just what happens.
I don't do it on purpose
by nature.
But hey, for this one, I'm not really picking a side at all. Like,
right.
I'm picking because we have to for the show, but like
I feel the same.
I can't. Like, I'm not comfortable with either side.
Exactly. There's too much we just don't know yet. I think in this one for either guy. I mean, there's a lot of talks about how Ortega's moving up to 155 or whatever. I think somebody else mentioned that just a minute ago. Mick Pooperton did. Yeah. It's so funny saying that name, just like seriously, like, yeah, Mick Pooperton said that. Anyway, we've got the main event coming up. We're at 95 live viewers right now. If we get 5 more y'all in here, we're going to hit 100, which is that's what math works out to be. So I would like to see you guys tell your friends to start watching. But either way, we're going to roll right into the main event. It's our last one. And then I got to get out of here because I've got a funeral to go to tomorrow morning. So that sucks. But we have Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka 2. And we are kicking this off with none other than TB Scouting MMA. Let's hear it, brother. Started this off, finishing off the first one or the final one.
Yes. So Yuri Prochazka, Alex Pereira, just an absolute masterclass of matchmaking. This is as good as it gets replacing the Conor McGregor fight, and it's probably a better fight and more exciting. Ultimately here, I think in the first fight, we saw a lot of what both guys do well, and they each have levels of success in basically each realm that they can be good in. Yuri lands a takedown, gets some top control. He's able to pressure Pereira back to the fence and start landing in combination at multiple levels and using his weird style and feints to kind of frustrate Pereira. Then once he gets a little sloppy and thinks he's going in for the kill, Pereira is able to land that beautiful check hook and take care of business. And I mean, Yuri was severely hurt there. But as we've seen in like the Dom Reyes fight, he could even be knocked out off of an up kick and still like keep going. So my biggest takeaway is like the biggest differences from that first matchup to this one is that now Pereira is the guy that had a broken toe, was talking about taking a little extra time off after the Jamal Hill fight. And Yuri, like he takes some damage in the Rakic fight, but none more so than what this guy probably is doing in the gym on a regular basis. So Yuri's coming in here. Now he's not the guy like almost 1.5, 2 years off from a gigantic shoulder surgery / tinfoil hat USADA suspension. And in fact, USADA's out of the ball game now, so he's not getting tested 500,000 times per day. So I feel like we're getting the best version of Yuri in this matchup, motivated, looking for revenge. Whereas Alex, there's a potential. There's the slightest of potentials that we're not getting his absolute best in this matchup. And I think at the plus money, it's enough for me to take Yuri here.
I want to say this now. During TB's fantastic breakdown, we hit 100 viewers. So it must have been.
There we go.
So must have been. But yeah, so good job, dude. Appreciate it. Mike, what do you have on the main event? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so for me, this is similar to the co-main. Like, I really tried to find a confident spot that I liked a lot, and I can't because I feel like both guys have ways to win here, and the first fight just solidified that for me, right? Like, you watch that first fight, And it looks like Yuri is having a lot of success. The unorthodox movement, the pressure, just the pure pace of the guy, and the grappling. You know, he's not a D1 wrestler by any means, but you don't have to be against Pereira. You can get takedowns against him if you just have physicality and have decent timing on your takedowns. You can get him down and you can hold him down. He doesn't have good get-ups. So there was good from Jiri, but then you also saw why it's so clear that Pereira can win again, because Jiri has no defense at all. And he goes right in there, and he's so easy to counter. And who's better with the counters than Pereira? Who hits harder than this guy in the UFC? Probably nobody. So, but there's like clear ways for both guys to win. And it's really just which version of this fight do you get on this given day? And that's why for me, like, I lean towards the underdog, because I can see both guys winning. I can see more ways for Jiri to win, because I think Jiri can win using ground game or a knockout. I can see Pereira only win via knockout. But am I comfortable enough to play it? I don't know. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait and watch. If the line on Saturday blows out and people come in hard and they start really hitting Pereira because they're fans and they don't watch often and they're just trying to get a bet in, and I get like Jiri plus 150, then I'll play it. Then I'll hop in and I'll play Jiri, because I do think he has those ways to win. I do think he can knock Pereira out. I do think he can use his ground game. But right now, not at this price. I can't, because I can also see Pereira just landing that counter and putting him to sleep again, which would really suck. I mean, the Rakic fight, I had Jiri in that fight, and dude, the first round sucked. The first round, that was really stressful, bro. And then in the second round, I felt a lot better because Jiri just did Jiri things. But again, Rakic has never been known as a huge power striker. Pereira is a whole different story. For me, I'm more interested in trying to find a parlay piece for that under 3.5. Maybe Pyfer. I don't feel good about it, so I don't know if I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll find something in PFL. I have one play on PFL so far. Maybe if I find something there that I like, maybe I'll do that. Just do a cross card parlay, because I really don't think we go over 3.5. I personally don't think so. Can I see a world where it happens? Yes, but I don't think it happens at a high clip at all. I think both of these guys are just, their styles, neither is very defensively sound, and both hits really hard. So yeah, I'll pick Jiri, I guess, but not confident here either.
Fair enough. Cody, what side are you on?
Yeah, man. Look, I'll start this off by saying I have been burned by Jiri a lot in his UFC career. I mean, he's got to be one of my worst bet fighters. I made a decent bit of that back in the last Pereira fight. Spoiler alert. I was on Alex Pereira the first time. But in Jiri's debut, I was on Vulcan. I was like, all right, this dude, he's too wild. He's too reckless. Vulcan's going to sleep him. And he had some good moments, and then he was out cold. And then I was like, all right, no worries. Now, even better. It's going to be even better fade in this next one. Dominic Reyes, baby. I bet Dominic Reyes. It was looking good. He literally knocked him unconscious at least once, but there was even a time on the feed where Jiri was like cross-eyed. And next thing I know, I was brutally unconscious. And you'd think, maybe I learned my lesson. Nope. I bet Glover Teixeira in their fight. And I was laughing about this with Just Win. That's probably, if you've been watching my channel, like, people still bring up how I acted during that fight. It's not even a question, the most animated I've ever been. I was genuinely, like, typically I'm pretty chill, man. I've been betting this sport for like 7 years. It takes a lot to get. I lost via bite only a couple months ago. Okay. I have been through the trenches in this sport, but I had a bet on Glover and I was literally throwing shit. I was screaming. There was a time where Jiri, I think it was like the end of the fourth, Jiri was like mouth breathing, hands at his waist. Glover is unloading on him, and then he shoots a double leg. And I genuinely feel bad for my viewers, because it was like a lit stream that night, and those poor viewers had to hear, like, I was going crazy. I was like, I never backseat fight like that. Like, Glover would literally pick me up on my head and slam and break my neck. But I was like, you fucking idiot! What are you doing? Like, I was going crazy, man. And yeah, all he had to do was beat the clock another 28 seconds. Didn't work out, got subbed. Jesus. And then I finally got to get some of that money back in the first Pereira fight. And then, I didn't even realize I was this bad at betting Yuri until I broke him down the start of this week. I was like, my God, he's got to be my worst. I bet Rakic in the last fight. And I was feeling so confident in that second round. I'm like, oh, he's kicking the shit out of his leg. This is another, that leg's dead. Second round starts, and I'm feeling so confident. Yuri's leg is toasted. But that man he's literally 205 DDP, man. Like, they don't fight similar at all. They're just, everything they do is ugly. Everything they do is unorthodox. A striking coach would tell you, like, what? No, stop that. Stop everything you're doing. These are the type of guys that when they come into the gym, like, you're like, it's almost worse than if you had no striking because you have so many bad habits. Like, what am I going to do? But then at the end of the day, a good strike is one that lands. And this dude might not do everything by the book, but he finds a way to get it done time and time again. So I can't knock anybody betting him as an underdog. Clearly, I have had a terrible run of betting this guy's fights. But I honestly do think this is a bad stylistic matchup for him. He had some success in the first fight. He got on top of him. I think if he gets on top of Pereira early, I'm going to be sweating bullets. But I don't think he can wrestle long without gassing. That's why I do like that under 3.5. I have that parlayed up with Simon like I talked about. I think if it even goes beyond 2, that leg's going to be so chopped up. But I think somebody's going to get knocked out. I just think both guys are all offense. It's not like I'm going to sit here and tell y'all Pereira is some defensive, master. His defense is pretty, shaky sometimes himself. But it just has a high risk, high reward style. Both of them do. But I just think at the end of the day, man, if these guys fight 10 times, I think the way Yuri fights, he probably loses 7 of those fights, in my opinion. That's just my way of looking at it. I think in 3 of the 10, he brutally knocks Pereira out. So could that happen? He definitely could. But I think Pereira is going to chop those legs. Yuri's going to get desperate in the second round. Maybe when he gets desperate, it tends to work out for him. Maybe he's going to spinning back elbow Pereira to sleep. It'd be my luck knowing how I bet this guy. But I'm going to say Pereira gets me back another piece of that Yuri stole from my bankroll, like the last fight. I think he's just too technical, too much of a sniper, too good with his counters. I think Yuri's going to get a little wild. The way he fights is so crazy, but I just think Pereira, it's a bad stylistic matchup for him, man. I'm going to say he gets desperate in that second. They're going to just absolutely start brawling, and I'm going to lean on Pereira in that type of fight. But I don't hate people taking dog shots. I get it, man. Clearly, it's been working for y'all. So we're betting Yuri. But give me Pereira knockout, the under 3.5. But I just bet Alex straight on the money line, -130, and I got the under 3.5.
Well, this confirms it. Cody, we literally have matched every single pick.
That's crazy. Because I have like 4 underdogs, so that's pretty good.
How we lined up on literally every pick is insane. I don't know how that happens. So but we did. So thank you so much for tuning in, Everything Hoops. I appreciate you. And I got to shout out Green King. Green King's been down there dropping some stuff, but I haven't had the chance to shout him out. It's Volkan and Reyes just needed some time to recover after getting starched by Yuri, and then they got it back. So there we go.
It was an early stoppage.
That Reyes money line felt so good.
Dude, I bet.
Yep.
It did.
The best. You're far too kind, my friend. You're far too kind. But so let's break down this main event. I got this. So here's the thing. So first, I need to point out the broken toes. Anybody that's done martial arts and like competitively for like a pretty long time has broken toes. I've broken toes. You just train right through them. It's not a big deal. Unless you break your big toe, then you're in trouble. But like if you break like the middle toes like Pereira has, it's no big deal. It hurts a little, but like it's whatever. In the fight, you're not going to notice it. You don't really notice it. Unless you throw like a front kick and kick somebody like right up under somebody's ribs with your broken toes, that hurts a lot. In fact, I've broken toes doing that. But it's not a big deal. Like he'll be fine with the toes. It's not an issue, especially in the fight. Okay, so here's the take. Now, I think the reason Alex, I think it's Alex. I got to remember to say that right. Alex Pereira is going to win. The reason why. So in the first fight, Yuri saw some success early, right? And the reason why is Pereira's trying to figure out this guy's style because he's a hard style to figure out. He really is. He's a tough puzzle to solve, right? He's like a Rubik's Cube. It takes a little bit. But once you get the algorithm, it's not so tricky anymore. And that's what happened once Poatan figured out that algorithm, started figuring out what Yuri does, why he's doing it. He started having a lot of success. And that's when he started to really put the hurting on him. So for me, I think that because he already kind of has that figured out, I would say that for me, it's going to be a Poatan knockout, probably early second round. I think he's got Yuri figured out now. He knows what's going on, and I think he's going to get it done. So you got to go with Poatan here for as far as I can say. I think he's a better fighter. I think his style is hard for someone like for Yuri to beat because Yuri does take a lot of damage, and you just can't eat those shots. There's nobody in the UFC that can go in there with the striking defense of Yuri Prochazka and expect to go 5 rounds with Alex Pereira. Could somebody beat him? Yes. But could they go 5 rounds? No. So I do like the under 3.5 there. That is great. But that's my take on it. We've been having a good time in the chat. We got some sharp minds in here is what everybody's telling us. I think Hoops seems to think I'm the best, which I appreciate the heck out of it. So here's what we're going to do. We got a special request from the Dogfather. He wants to give our favorite bets. Now here's what I'm saying. And why it's Lock Dog. It's not going to be Lock Dog, that's for sure. But here's what I'm saying. What we're going to do, we're going to go around. Everybody's going to tell a little bit, say where people can find you, what's your channel, all that good stuff. If you got any content coming up the rest of this week, we'll do that. But also just toss out your favorite bet. You don't need to justify it. Just throw it out. What's your favorite bet as we wrap it up? TB, kick it off. You've been kicking off the good stuff. We can hit 100 with you. So TB, tell everybody where they can find you and what's your favorite bet on the card.
Let's go. Chronic Combat Conversations every Wednesday night, live 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Best bets, best guess, always free picks. We're out here to have a good time digging into grandma's couch cushions and bringing you some good information and some fun. So for this fight card, the biggest bet that I have out so far is the over 1.5 in the Talbot fight. That line's gone. So in this case, get a little Ian Gary money line, get a little Diego Lopez money line. And if you need a prop that's plus money, it's Pyfer inside the distance. I actually found plus 115 on Bet365.
Even better.
Diego's. Did you guys hear that?
No.
They're about to break into your house. It's the FBI. Oh my God.
That was crazy. What the fuck was that?
You are in New York. You never know what's going on over there.
Bro, that shit sounded like a bomb.
It's Johnny Walker, bro.
Yeah.
Johnny Walker. He's here for your
family. Pereira, bro. He heard my breakdown.
Oh, goodness. You okay to finish this out, Mike, or you need to go check that out? You good?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay. All right, finish it out, brother. What do you got? Tell us everything.
Yo, Mick Pooperson's killing me, bro. Well done. He's cracking me up this whole time. Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter, Couch Warrior Podcast on YouTube. That's where you guys can find me. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you to Cody and Tyler TB for pulling up. Thank you to my co-host, as always, doing the show with me. In terms of my content this week, so I had my podcast on Tuesday. I had my guy Big Steve on. Make sure to check that out. We broke down the card, went through it top to bottom. My YouTube shorts, if you don't like these long-ass videos, they're 1 minute each. I do every single fight on every single card, break them down as fast as I can. I talk relatively fast, so I think it works out. You can check those out. They're already up. And in terms of other content, I don't think I'm going to be putting up any other videos this week. There's PFL tomorrow. I only have one bet. I have Murad Ramazanov for minus 136 to win 1 unit. I don't think that line is up right now. I think it's higher at this point, but if it gets down to like around that range, I think it's a good play. And make sure to check out my Discord, 100% free. Don't charge a penny. after this week, I'm no longer going to post my bets on Twitter. I'm only going to be posting them on my Discord. So that's where you can find them. Still going to be free though. Notes are on there. Breakdowns are on there. And we got almost 250 people in there. And we're talking fights every single day. I got channels for every single regional scene. We got it all. Make sure to check that out. It's a good time. And talking about Diego, the line actually dropped. He's minus 125 now on Bet Online. And I don't know what to do with myself.
Play it. Just kidding.
I don't know what to do, bro.
Oh goodness, that's something there. So what's your favorite bet then?
Oh, my favorite bet. Honestly, I hate them all. Is that bad?
No, because I hear you. I'm struggling with mine still.
Man, oh man. Well, favorite bet I made was Gary minus 130, I guess, but that's not there anymore. Hernandez Seruya fight goes plus 155. I'll go with that.
There you go. We'll take it. Cody, give everybody where they can find you, and then your favorite bet.
Yeah, man. It's Cody Dank, spelled with an H like that, like down there, on everything except Twitter. I had to make it Cody Jitsu, those bastards. But yeah, man, appreciate you having me on. I do these breakdowns every week. Me and 138 did a PFL breakdown just a couple days ago, so check that out. We got some bets. I'm looking forward to watching that PFL card tomorrow. But I did also do a bunch of content for this card on my personal channel. You can see that in the caption below, I guess. And do that for every single card. Have a lot of fun with it. Go back and forth with everybody on Twitter. I also have a Discord, so if you go to any of my videos and go to the caption, you can see the Discord and all the socials and all that. So come in the Discord, hit me up on Twitter, go back and forth with everybody all the time. All I do is freaking talk about this sport all freaking day. Takes way too much time and energy, but I just love it. I have 10 bets on this card. I always have trouble picking one as like a favorite. But if I had to pick one, I like that plus money on Macy. I mean, it's a women's MMA fight, and I don't bet a lot of women's MMA, but I'm just not big on Mayra Bueno Silva, as you guys heard. I wanted to say, you brought up Khadisi Bragimov. Oh my, why do I gotta get disrespectful on this 3 times, man? That dude is on my Mount Rushmore of the worst fighters to ever enter the UFC octagon. My God.
Remember when they signed Daniil Marquez just so he could lose to him and he still lost?
Oh my God. That's another one, man. That's a good shout. But if I had to pick one bet, oh man. I like that plus money on Macy. I like I'm pretty confident on Simon. Yeah, I'd probably go Macy. Plus money on Macy. Any plus money, especially if you got any of those crazy early lines. I got plus 135. Yeah, I guess I like that one. I mean, I'm pretty confident in Alex as well, but I gave the whole breakdown as to why I probably shouldn't pick that one as my favorite bet. But
fair enough.
Fun card, man. I'm super excited for this one, man.
Absolutely. You guys know where to find me because you're here right now. So I don't need to give you that. There's still over 100 of you watching. So thank you guys. As we wrap up, there's still over 100 of you here. I genuinely appreciate all of you. My favorite bet on this card, like I said, I gotta dance with the girl that I took. We're going Jillian Robertson TKO. It's hitting. Gosh darn it, she's doing this darn thing. If you want to get real crazy, you go Jillian Robertson TKO. Gosh, second round. We're gonna say second round. Could be third, second round. I feel like it's something like that. So if we're getting real wild, but Jillian Robertson TKO is my favorite bet. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. We are signing off now as soon as this ends up ending. It's hard to make that happen right away. So see you guys.